Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Brain Waves, back with another breaking news. President Trump has actually spoken on the Supreme Court ruling regarding birthright citizenship. That's right. Now, this is going to be a big situation because it's not all that it seems. And we're going to listen to him speak and we're going to look at some things. And see, this is about to change the game as it relates to some of the things that's been going on recently. Now, many of you have seen and many of you are aware of the protests that we have with the migrant situation, with all the immigrants, especially in California, with ICE and all of that. Yeah, this is about to completely change the game. It's going to completely change the game. And there's going to be some things that are going to be passed, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling you, man, this is about to get very interesting. So I'm going to give y'all just a few seconds to come into the building. And we're about to go ahead and pull up this particular information. And we're going to go from there. When you come in the building, make sure you go ahead and double tap the screen. And we're going to go from there. All right, y'all. Listen, let's go ahead and get this on the screen so y'all can see what I'm talking about. All right, we're going to go ahead and watch this. This is, man, I'm telling you, this ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. All right. So in any case, we're going to listen to Trump is going to come out and speak on this. All right. So let's go ahead and go.
Well, this was a big one, wasn't it? This was a big decision. An amazing decision, one that we're very happy about. This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law in striking down the excessive use of nationwide injunctions to interfere with the normal functioning of the executive branch. The Supreme Court has stopped the presidency itself. That's what they've done. And really, it's been an amazing period of time this last hour. There are people elated all over the country. I've seen such happiness and spirit. Sometimes you don't see that, but this case is very important. I was elected on a historic mandate, but in recent months we've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president to stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers. It was a grave threat to democracy, frankly, and instead of merely ruling on the immediate cases before them, these judges have attempted to dictate the law for the entire nation. In practice, this meant that if any one of the nearly 700 federal judges disagreed with the policy of a duly elected president of the United States, he or she could block that policy from going into effect or at least delay it for many years, tie it up in the court system. This was a colossal abuse of power which never occurred in American history prior to recent decades, and we've been hit with more nationwide injunctions than were issued in the entire 20th century together. Think of it, more than the entire 20th century, me. I'm grateful to the Supreme Court for stepping in and solving this very, very big and complex problem, and they've made it very simple. I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly, as well as Chief Justice Roberts, and Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas. Great people. Thanks for this decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly filed to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words, but there's really, she can talk as long as she wants because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. And with that, I'd like you to listen to the words of Pam Bondi. She's an incredible Attorney General. We're very proud of her. And as you know, Todd Blanche is with us, and we have so many others that worked on this case and other cases. And I think they're doing a great job. Pam, please say a few words.
Now, I want to say this real quick before Pam comes up. I don't know if y'all overheard that Trump was talking about the transgender situation. There's a lot of situations that's going on, right? See, this whole ruling with this birthright case is about to kickstart a whole nother set of circumstances. And this is what I want you all to pay attention to. A lot of people are overlooking this story. A lot of people are not covering this story. And make sure when you come into the building, you double tap the screen. I greatly appreciate the help. I greatly appreciate the support. It lets other people become aware of this particular message. It costs you nothing. It costs nobody nothing. It just helps other people become aware. You see, with this particular ruling, okay, this is going to open up the case for so many other things. Let me run back the last bit of what he said, and y'all will understand. I'm going to run it back to like just a little bit about right here. I want you to pay attention to what he says, and I'm probably going to pause it as you hear it in certain parts.
Be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country.
Now, some people, you know, are going to be sensitive and they're going to take offense. It's like, well, you mean birthright citizenship that was meant for the babies of slaves? You're going to probably have content creators making videos talking about Trump was talking about slaves. Listen, y'all, they're going to be doing a whole lot of clickbaiting and fear mongering and all that stuff. We don't do that here. All right. But I want you to keep your eyes and ears peeled and posted for content creators trying to say Trump was trying to go in on slaves. No, he wasn't going in on slaves. He was saying what birthright citizenship was created for. All right. It was meant for that. Now, that's one area, but I'm gonna go ahead and continue because there's other areas I want to touch on, and then there's more I want to show y'all.
On a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason.
Now, let me say this. This goes back into a bigger issue, right? And again, shout out to everybody that's coming to the building. I appreciate y'all. Feel free to rock out. What's up, Nathan? What's up, Arturo? What's up, Joel? Appreciate all y'all coming into the building. Thank y'all so much. If y'all could kindly double tap the screen as you're watching, I would greatly appreciate it. All right. You cannot listen. Everybody seems to get sensitive to this particular subject when it relates to America, right? But if this were another country, if we were talking about almost any other country in the world, everyone would like agree that you can't just have thousands of people pouring into a country and they're not going through the proper channels of becoming a citizen. Now, I don't want to get into the conversation of, well, brainwaves, there's people that's going through the proper channels and they're becoming a citizen. I'm not talking about that right now. We're talking about one particular point here. We're not going to derail that point. The point that we're making is if you have any country and you've got thousands and thousands and thousands of people just trying to come in, just trying to illegally cross the borders, illegally enter the country, illegally capitalize on our money, on our resources, on our jobs, on our situations, and there's no checks and balances, we're all going to pay the price. And in fact, this is one of the reasons why, again, one of the reasons, I don't want to get into this too, because this will turn into another live stream, but it's one of the reasons why economically we've been in the situation that we've been into. Okay. So there's so much more to this. You have in terms of resources, you have in terms of spaces, opportunities, programs. There's so many things I can get into. And when people are illegally capitalizing on that, that's not right. Now, when we talk about here in America, everybody want to get all sensitive and get into their feelings and get into their emotions. But if you were to talk about any other country, try to go to any other country and see if thousands of people could just pour into that country illegally, number one, entering the country, and then two, illegally try to become a citizen and think that that's going to stand and that's going to fly. Right? I'm just saying, any other country. But when it comes to America, everybody's like, it's not fair. I'm in my feelings. Da, 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 da. Now, as for the cases that could be legit and things went left or what have you, it just didn't work out right, that's another conversation. But anyway, let's continue.
It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now properly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending.
Now, let's talk about that. Sanctuary city funding being ended. You know, this is a big one in California. What's up, Medusa? And hey, for all the people that's here watching me, especially if you new, feel free to say what's up or say hello in your particular way, respectfully speaking, in the chat. I try my best to say hello and say what's up and chop it up with everybody that's here, especially my new people. Man, I really get excited when I see new people pull up. So feel free if you want to. If you could type and say hi, say hello. I'm going to do the best that I can to say hello to you back. And I also have my OGs that watch my platform and support me. They will also greet you too. All right. Just as long as you're respectful. I mean, we can agree to disagree or what have you. I allow people to rock out just as long as there's no trolling. But with this being said, sanctuary cities are about to lose funding. So you know what that means for California, right? You know what that means for Los Angeles. What's up, Doug Fresh? My day is going amazing, man. I hope all of y'all days is going amazing as well. Listen, California is one of those sanctuary states. We can talk about LA and all this stuff, the sanctuary cities. Now, we already got the migrant crisis going on there. Y'all need to pay attention to what's going on, right? And when I do my content, I do this to have you informed, not to be afraid, but for you to be informed and aware of what's going on so you can make your decisions accordingly. And you can do what you need to do that's best for you. The thing is, if these sanctuary cities are losing funding, right? And California, more specifically like Los Angeles, for example, where all this migrant ICE situation has been trending in the news and going on, if they lose their funding, what do you think that's going to mean? And what do you think that's going to mean for the protection of particular individuals that would be here illegally? That means that they can't hide. There is no more running to these sanctuary cities and no more hiding. What's up, Nick St. Louis Jr.? So this is actually correcting a lot of issues and correcting a lot of wrong now. I will say that because, again, I'm going to say it once, I'm going to say it many times. We cannot have our population out of control. You can't have people just illegally breaking the law. You can't have all our resources being taken. It causes costs to go up. It creates a lot of issues. Right? When people are yeah, that's right. Doug Fresh said New York City. That's right. What's up, Erica Wagner? Y'all rock out. Yeah, what's up, Rollo? Y'all make sure you subscribe to Floridian Rollo. He's a fellow content creator. He said he just talked about it. He called it. Yeah, listen, we're just getting to see this. There's about to be a whole set of stuff that's going to pop up as it relates to this, right? Just watch. So we got the sanctuary cities losing funding issues. Let me pull up this real quick. Hold on. Let's see if we can go ahead and show this for y'all on the screen. Let me get this on the screen for y'all. So I want y'all to look at this real quick. Let's see. All right, so some of the sanctuary cities in the U.S., it says there are jurisdictions that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. These cities often have policies that prevent local law enforcement from inquiring about a person's immigration status or holding individuals solely based on immigration hold requests. Well-known examples include New York City, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Now, if funding for these sanctuary cities is being pulled, that means that they're just going to start asking whatever. They're going to start profiling. They're going to start doing whatever. This is serious business, y'all. It's a serious business. This is serious. But anyhow, man, let's go ahead and go. Let's keep this. Let's keep the other parts going.
Refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and no.
Did y'all hear that? We're paying for transgender surgery. What's up, S plus S homesteaders? What's up, Timothy? Listen, Timothy Jacobs says we're all hypocrites. Timothy Jacobs, listen, y'all, one of the few times I'll entertain the trolls. How are all of us hypocrites? Timothy Jacobs, explain to me how myself as well as everybody that's watching this particular live stream a hypocrite. I want to see this. Come on now. I really need to know how we're all hypocrites. As if Timothy Jacobs knows every single person that's watching this channel right now. Y'all see how these trolls get down? Right? So he says all 5 of Trump kids are birthright citizenship. See, listen. This is a whole separate conversation when you're starting to get into the kids. And technically, based upon what he is saying and based upon the ruling that's passed, because we're going to break it down. According to the ruling, Trump's 5 kids, if that were even the case, let's just run with that scenario, right? If that's even the case, his kids would still actually be considered citizens, right? Whether you agree with this or not. Because that's not what this is about, whether we are agreeing or disagreeing. So I'm not citing either way. I'm just literally breaking the news and I'm literally explaining to people what could take place and what we could potentially look at. I'm not taking anybody's side. If y'all want to take sides, hey, that's on you. But what I do is this is straight down the middle. And based upon what we're about to play and see, you're about to see that based upon this, right? Because what you're saying, Timothy Jacobs is saying, oh, facts don't matter. I'm about to show you facts. You're about to see facts, and my entire audience is about to see facts. As soon as Trump gets done speaking, I'm going to show you facts. And like I said, based upon the Supreme Court's ruling, your narrative to say that Trump and all 5 of his kids need to get deported out of the country falls on his face. Now, this is not my personal opinion on whether his children should be deported or whether they should not be deported. That's not what I do here. It's straight down the middle. What you're doing is you're giving us your opinion. What I'm about to give my audience is facts. So you could go ahead and enjoy your 5 minutes of fame because that's basically all you're going to get here. Let's go ahead and continue to play this so I can show Timothy Jacobs the facts as well as my audience. All right, let's go.
Numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and say a few words. But there's really she can talk as long as she wants. Because
yeah, I'm with what's up, Laura? We got Laura Linton in the house. What's up with you, baby? She says, LOL, Trump is a citizen. There is no birthright application. Rolling on the floor, laughing. I mean, when I play this, listen, y'all, let me make something clear. Let me make something clear real quick before I play this for my audience, because I got new people here. Shout out to all you beautiful people. Shout out to you awesome people. I want the best for you. I wish the best for y'all, whether y'all agree with me or not. I really appreciate y'all pulling up to my platform, right? And I'm nothing without you all. So I really humbly appreciate y'all being here. Let me say this, okay? I got to make this clear because I got a lot of new people here. My OGs know where I stand on this. I rock with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay? That's who I serve. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I don't get caught up in politics saying, oh, I got to be loyal to this person and loyal to that person. If anything, I would be more an independent if you want to consider anything. Because I'll rock with a Republican if the Republican's right for the job. I'll rock with a Democrat if the Democrat's right for the job. I'll rock with an independent if the independent's right for the job. If it's a right person for the job, the right decision, the right particular set of whatever it is that needs to take place and would be better for us as the citizens here in whatever city, state, or whatever it is, then I'll rock with that person, right? But my point is, I'm just breaking the news here. And I'm showing y'all and letting y'all know what take place, what is taking place, what took place, and what we can potentially see that's going to happen. Because now, based upon this ruling, in the next couple of days, weeks, even months, you're going to start seeing a lot of stuff hit the news in these particular areas. You're going to see these cities, Chicago, New York City, LA is losing funding. How are they responding to this? And now people are rioting and people are going wild. You think we got protests now? You think we got people popping off with the whole ICE migrant situation now? Man, we ain't seen nothing. What's up? Look, we got Sunshine Milton in the building. Says she became a citizen in 2006. Their kids are legal citizens. Exactly. And when I play this other part, which I'm about to get to y'all are going to see that based upon this most recent Supreme Court ruling that Trump's children would be citizens anyway, right? This is why I'm breaking this to y'all so y'all can see. This is not based upon any past information, any past ruling, any past laws. This is how it is right now. Whether you like it, whether I like it, this is just facts, right? Again, I'm straight down the middle. I be fair with this stuff. I'm not being biased. I'm not giving y'all my personal opinions and feelings unless I state that, right? So let's go ahead and continue to listen to what Trump is talking about. And then we're going to actually play the part of what this means.
This is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. It's a giant. And they should be very proud. And our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. And with that, I'd like you to listen to the words of Pam Bondi. She's an incredible attorney general. We're very proud of her. And as you know, Todd Blanche is with us, and we have so many others that worked on this case and other cases. And I think they're doing a great job. Pam, please say a few words.
Now, I'm going to let Pam speak, this attorney general. I'm going to let her speak for a minute because she says a couple of points that y'all need to hear before we get into what this actually means. Let's go.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you for fighting for all Americans.
What's up,
Americans
Brandon?
are finally getting what they voted for. No longer will we have rogue judges striking down President Trump's policies across the entire nation. No longer. Today, in the 6-3 opinion, Justice Barrett correctly holds that the district court lacks authority to enter nationwide or universal injunctions. These lawless injunctions gave relief to everyone in the world instead of the parties before the court. As the Supreme Court held today, they turned district courts into the imperial judiciary. Active liberal judges have used these injunctions to block virtually all of President Trump's policies. To put this in perspective, there are 94 federal judicial districts. 5 of those districts throughout this country held 35 of the nationwide injunctions. Think about that, 94 districts. And 35 out of the 40 opinions with nationwide injunctions came from 5 liberal districts in this country. No longer. No longer. These injunctions have blocked our policies from tariffs to military readiness to immigration to foreign affairs, fraud, abuse, and many other issues. The judges have tried to seize the executive branch's power, and they cannot do that. No longer. No longer. And on immigration, on a side note, today marks 2,711 arrests on these terrorists and these gangs. Total arrest today with HSI investigations. And thank you, Stephen Miller. Thank you to Homeland Security. Thank you to everyone working hand in hand with the FBI on all of these transnational gangs. TDA has been a huge terror to our country, as well as MS-13, as well as Sinaloa cartels. No longer. No longer. These injunctions have allowed district court judges to be emperors. They vetoed all of President Trump's power, and they cannot.
Let me say, I got to say something. All right. And again, shout out to everybody that's pulled up on my platform. I actually care about the people that watch my platform. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. I say this from time again. Don't forget to double tap the screen when you come in. I appreciate y'all. I really do. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Feel free to rock out on my platform. Feel free to say what you want to say, but please be respectful, y'all. Listen, please be respectful. I'm all in support, whether you agree with Trump, whether you disagree with Trump, whether you agree with this policy, you don't agree with this policy, you're free to speak, right? We got freedom of speech, but please, I run a clean show. I run a clean channel, right? Feel free to rock out and disagree, but be respectful to the people here, right? I really appreciate y'all. We got 820 people in the building. Shout out to all the 820 people here in the building. Let me say this. Some people are going to, and I'm seeing this in the comment section, say that they don't agree that President Trump should be doing this and doing that. Listen, there's no reason why we should be, why any president should have all of their rights taken away and all of their rights blocked. And part of what you're seeing that's taking place is some of his actual rights being given to him as a president, some of his authority as a president being allowed to move forward. Now, again, whether you agree with it or disagree, that's a whole nother conversation. What I do on this show, I'm straight down the middle. I'm fair and balanced. We stick to the facts, we stick to the situations, and we look at what we could be potentially facing. All right, I'm gonna let her speak a little bit more, Ms. Pam, this Attorney General here, and then we're gonna go on and move forward. Because here's what happens. If we allow this situation with illegal citizens here, it's going to make things worse. Do y'all understand? I see people talking about inflation. They're talking about this. Anytime you have a citizen that's not properly vetted into our system, right? The system that we all engage in, whether you agree with this system or not. If you here in America, we have to interact and engage in this economic capitalistic system, right? So if you have citizens that are here and they're not paying their taxes, they're not going through the proper channels, they're not doing this, and yet they're tapping into resources that's been allocated for actual citizens, that's creating a big financial issue. And then it's a reason why companies end up having to go up on this, go up on that. It's more complicated than that. I'm just giving y'all like the surface level icing on the cake explanation here. But it costs us money. And then you be wondering why, well, why are they going up in prices with this? Why is this? Because everybody's not paying their fair share, right? It's just like if you sit up there and you're in class, right? For those of you that's in school or been in school or you're in college or you graduated from college, I'm a college graduate, and you've had a project to work on, right? And you got 6 people that's supposed to work on this project. You got only 2 people actually putting in the work with the project. And the other 4 people, they're not putting in the work. They give you the run around with text messages, calls, showing up, the things that they say they're going to do. They're not pulling their weight, right? So guess what? That causes a burden on the 2 people that are actually doing. And guess what? At the end of the day, the other 4 people end up getting credit just like the 2 people who put in all the work. So I'm giving y'all a short scenario of what's going on. That's what we're experiencing. So by them to be able to cut down on the numbers and keep this illegal situation from going out of control and spiraling out of control, this is actually helping us out in the long run. Again, whether you agree with it or not. Let me continue to play Miss Pam, this Attorney General here, and we'll go from there.
Not do that. This has been a bipartisan problem that has lasted 5 presidential terms, 5 different presidents, and it has ended today. We will continue to fight for President Trump's policies. I want to thank the Office of White House Counsel, Dave Warrington. You and your staff have been incredible. Our Solicitor General's office, John Sowers, Sarah Harris, and Todd Blanche and Emil Bovey. Todd's going to say a few words because we've had another major ruling today on transgender books and some other great wins that we've had. But no longer will they have this power in our country. It is the president's authority under his executive branch to do everything to fight for the American people, and he will continue to do that. That's why he was overwhelmingly elected. Thank you.
Okay, so this is what we're about to do. Now, I'm going to play this because this is a big subject here. Now we're going to hear from Todd. He's going to speak on the transgender situation. I'm going to actually let us rock out with this transgender situation because, again, whether you agree with transgenders, I'm not giving y'all my personal opinions. I could, but I'm straight down the middle. Whether you agree with transgenders or not, they're being hit big time. As a matter of fact, I just saw an article today how the LGBTQIA, etc. community, they're losing a lot of corporate funding. Only 2 out of 5 corporations are actually even supporting them. And then even places that would support them, like they used to be able to hold their pride events in certain venues. They're pulling that. And see, a lot of stuff is changing because we had President Trump come in. And we had the whole Republican Party who stands against a lot of the transgender mindsets and ideologies. Now, I'm not going to attack anybody that may be transgender. I'm not advocating for anybody to attack anybody that's transgender. It's just certain things that we agree with and certain things we don't agree with. And y'all know me, I stand on the Bible. If you don't know, now you do know. I follow biblical truth, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And it's just certain things that I believe should be protected and put in place. And that's a lot of the policies that you're seeing coming out of the Republican community. So let's go ahead and listen to what he's got to say, because I'm telling y'all, we about to see a whole host of stuff taking place here in the country. Let's see what he's got to say, man. And again, this is about the transgender aspect.
Thank you. Today's a great day for the rule of law. It's a great day for the Justice Department, and it's one that's been a long time coming, and one that every American should have been waiting for with bated breath. And so I echo what the President said and Attorney General Bondi, that the Supreme Court did a great thing today, not only for this administration, but for every American in this country. If not for the injunctions case.
I'm going to say this again. I said it once. I'm going to say it twice. And mods, I need my mods on the job. I got mods here. Listen, anybody here on my platform is free to rock out. Say your disagreements, say your agreements, but no name calling. We don't do name calling here. All right. Everybody's free to speak and say their opinions. Just no name calling. If anybody says name calling, if anybody calls anybody names and do stuff, my mods are going to time you out and or block you. And I don't want you to be blocked. I want you to rock out on my platform, okay? I want people to rock out. I have moderators on my platform. So they will time you out if you say you call people names, especially if you calling me names. You got people calling me delusional and all this stuff. Hey, I understand if you don't agree, but I'm not calling you names. I treat y'all with respect, and I expect y'all to treat me as the host with respect, whether you agree with me or not, right? So anyway, let's go ahead and play it. Somebody asked, can I put, what's up, Brian? Brian Blue says, can you put the volume louder, please? I'm trying to play it. It's essentially as loud as it's going to be. What I'll do is I'll turn the music down some more. So that way, hopefully, you'll be able to hear what they're saying. But this is the audio source. This is as loud as it is. I got the volume turned up, but hopefully we can hear it. Let's go.
case, we would be here talking about another great decision that came down today, the trans books case, which restores parents' rights to decide their child's education. Seems like a basic idea, but it took the Supreme Court to set the record straight, and we thank them for that. And now that ruling allows parents to opt out of dangerous trans ideology and make the decisions for their children that they believe is correct. And so we thank the Supreme Court for that. There's been multiple decisions over the past several weeks that just show why this nationwide injunction ban had to happen. For example, what I mean by that is local district court judges issuing decisions that are clearly contrary to law just because they don't like the policy of President Trump. And when it gets to the Supreme Court has to correct it. But that takes time. The Attorney General thanked our lawyers, and I'll do it again. Our lawyers are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to fight these injunctions and to emergency appeals, emergency stays, going back to the district court judge, asking them to change their view. And so their hard work is really paying off today, but over the past few weeks. We had a stay of an order that prevented DHS from moving aliens to a third country. We had a stay of an order that stopped the Department of Defense from implementing military readiness, the EO that President Trump signed. We had another stay of an order forcing reinstatement of fired executive branch employees entirely within the president and Article 2, his right to do. We had a stay of, as you all know, of numerous DOJ cases. And again, every one of those stays requires a tremendous amount of work and effort by the lawyers and parties involved, and they should be doing other work. They should be doing the work that the president and this administration demands and has a right to demand, and not fighting these local judges who don't make decisions based on the law. They make decisions because they just simply don't agree with the administration's decision about a policy, and that's wrong. Thank you.
Any questions?
All right, so I guess it sounds like President Trump is about to answer some questions, so we're going to hear what he has to say about the questions. I'm not going to let this go on too long because I have another video that I want to show you about what's going on. And then maybe we'll come back to this. Let's go.
Yes, for Pam, please.
Go ahead.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Attorney General. So, as you know, the Supreme Court did not rule on the underlying constitutionality of the President's Birthright Citizenship order. So, what is the plan now? Are you going to try to implement the EO just in states where there isn't a legal challenge?
Yes, so birthright citizenship will be decided in October in the next session by the Supreme Court, unless it comes down in the next few minutes. I guess it could come down. I think they're still deliberating right now on some cases. As you heard, we just got transgender books, which is a huge win. But most likely, that will be decided in October in the next session. However, it indirectly impacts us because, as you correctly pointed out, if there's a birthright citizenship case in Oregon, it will only affect the plaintiff in Oregon, not the entire country. So yes, it's indirectly, but that's pending litigation, and we're waiting on that in the next term.
And how concerned are you that the Supreme Court will come back and determine that the executive order is unconstitutional?
Oh, we're very confident in the Supreme Court. But again, it's pending litigation, and that will directly be determined in October, but it indirectly impacts every case in this country, and we're thrilled with their decision today. Peter.
Madam Attorney General, thank you for being here to take our questions. A couple questions to the both of you. The EO had a 30-day grace period before it goes into effect. Is there any thought about trying to make it effective immediately within that period of time?
We're going to follow the law. We're going to make those decisions, and we're going to do what's right in the bounds of the law.
And then the DOJ didn't ask the justices to rule on the merits of the birthright citizenship ban. Just for explanation purposes, why?
Sure, because that's going to come down in October in the separate. This was huge because it's indirectly impacted today. As I said, it's case by case. Let me reiterate, of the 35 of the 40 nationwide injunctions filed against this president, against his executive authority as President of the United States, 35 of them came from Maryland, D.C., Massachusetts, California, Washington. I mean, that's crazy. These 5 districts. So yes, it indirectly impacts us. It will be a separate decision in October. Next question.
Thank you, Mr. President. A question for you, sir. Do you believe this ends the power of the lower court judges to stop your agenda? Do you see this as a full green light for your agenda going forward?
Well, you'd have to really speak to the lawyers about that. But this is really also a decision based on common sense. It didn't work the other way. It was a disaster where somebody from a certain location in a very liberal state or a liberal judge or a liberal group of judges could tie up a whole country for years because their decision would sometimes take years to overturn. We've overturned many of the decisions, but it would take years to do it. And we have to act quickly when it comes to illegal immigration. We have murderers, killers, we have drug dealers, we have what they've allowed to come into our country. Should never be forgotten. It should never be forgotten what they've done to our country. And we have to be able to act very quickly, and we're going to do that. Thank you.
Just as Amy Coney Barrett, sir, I know that you praised her and her opinion here in this case. She has taken some heat, though, from some of your supporters who have labeled her weak, a squishy, a rattled law professor. What is your take on that?
I don't know about that. I just have great respect for her. I always have. And her decision was brilliantly written today. From all accounts, yeah.
Transgender rulings, Mr. President. What would you say to Americans who fear that this is more and more concentration of power in the White House and the executive?
Well, this really brings back the Constitution. This is what it's all about. And this is really the opposite of that. I mean, the question is fine, but it's the opposite. The Constitution has been brought back.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Illegal crossings on the border are 0 now.
0. Does everyone hear that? 0. Trump 2028.
Do you intend, President Trump?
Who's that guy? I like him. He's working the cameras.
With this new reality, President Trump, in the border, do you intend to engage personally with leaders from South America, not only Central America, in order to tackle this situation in a different way, and if you have a perspective of meeting some presidents from South America, as Brazil, for example?
Well, you see, as an example, not South America, but NATO over the weekend.
Yeah.
They have great respect for our country now. They did things that nobody thought was possible. They took funding from 2% to 5%. Nobody thought they'd ever pay the 2%, and now they're paying the 5%. It's over $1 trillion more a year. Think of that, $1 trillion. Nobody thought that could happen. That's a different group of people, different countries. But we get along with a lot of countries. We are respected again. Our country, the U.S., is respected again. Was not respected 6 months ago, I can tell you.
Can we ask about the big beautiful?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Mr. President, you have a deadline coming up on trade in 2 weeks. Which countries, if any, on trade, on tariffs? Yeah. Sir, which countries, if any, are close to agreements with the administration?
Well, that's an interesting question. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal with probably 4 or 5 different countries. With the UK, it was a great deal for both. And we're in the process of making some others. But ultimately, in fact, Scott is here, and Howard Lutnick, these 2 guys have been doing an incredible job, and the people that work with them have been doing an incredible job. But, you know, we have 200 countries, you could say 200 countries plus. We can't do that. So at a certain point over the next week and a half or so, or maybe before, we're going to send out a letter. We talked to many of the countries, and we're just going to tell them what they have to pay to do business in the United States. And it's going to go very quickly. But some of the bigger countries, so India, I think we're going to reach a deal where we have the right to go in and trade. Right now it's restricted. You can't walk in there. You can't even think about it. We're looking to get a full trade barrier dropping, which is unthinkable, and I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but as of this moment, we've agreed to that, go into Indian trade. We're going to be trading in China. That's going to come a little bit down the road, but we're going to be trading in China. We have a lot of great things going, and we're getting along with countries, but some will be disappointed because they're going to have to pay tariffs. And we've taken in already hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. No inflation. The only problem we have is we have a Fed guy that doesn't understand what's happening, and it would be great if he'd lower the rate because we'd be able to borrow a lot cheaper. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Just in case y'all don't know, if you're able to borrow cheaper, okay, it's not just individuals, it's corporations, it's businesses. If the interest rate was lower, then that means cheaper prices for everybody, cheaper prices for everything. The cost The operational cost, the logistics would go down, which means that companies could charge us less. Everything would cost less, regardless of how things are set up. But when the interest rates stay high, it looks like we're still stuck with inflation. We're still stuck with dealing with stuff. So it's a lot of tug of war that's going on why things are this way. It's not just quite straightforward as, well, President Trump is not doing what he needs to do, and or Trump is messing this up. It's not just straightforward. There's a lot of parties, there's a lot of individuals in positions, and they're either making stances or not making stances and keeping things from moving the way that they need to move. This is one thing that is good, at least as it relates to immigration. I'm going to say even our resources, this goes towards transgender, because if somebody wants to give me my personal, y'all want to hear my personal opinion. I personally do not believe that it's right for someone to be able to get transgender surgery, especially as a child at that. But then you have people that are medically sick, that have all types of medical conditions, and none of that's covered by insurance. So our tax-paying dollars, our health plans, and our insurance, for those of us that work and engage in this system, we're paying for all of that, right? For somebody to go get transgender surgery, to decide, oh, I want to be this. But then you got people that are really sick. We got family members. We got moms, dads, sisters, brothers, grandparents, people that really, perhaps yourselves, ourselves or what have you, that actually need these types of surgeries for health and medical reasons, and they can't even get it. It's crazy. So it's like a lot of this stuff is about to come up and come out and be talked about. Y'all about to see a lot. And honestly, I'll do that live a little bit later, perhaps another day. The LGBTQIA, etc. community took a big hit. They took a big hit. This is only one of the things that they took a hit on. But this particular stance and this ruling is just another thing that they took a hit on. So y'all about to see a lot more, but let me play a little bit more with Trump, and then I want to play this other video.
Why don't we keep it on this subject? This is such a big subject. You know what? Trade is so big, but this, I don't know, in a certain way, this might be bigger than trade. I think this is bigger than trade. Yes, please, go ahead.
I was wondering, though, if you could...
Go ahead.
Sir, on the transgender ruling, the Supreme Court ruling that parents with religious objections can pull their kids out of public school lessons that use LGBTQ materials. Pam brought it up. Your reaction to that ruling today, sir?
I think the ruling was a great ruling, and I think it's a great ruling for parents. It's really a ruling for parents. They lost control of the schools. They lost control of their child. And this is a tremendous victory for parents. And I'm not surprised by it, but I am surprised that it went this far. It took us to bring life back to normal. So it's wonderful. It's parental. And I kept saying, we will give you back your parental rights. They were taken away, and this is a tremendous victory for parents. Yeah.
Mr. President.
I have to agree with that. This is a tremendous victory because we should not be teaching children, elementary school level children, about sexuality. What do elementary school children need to know about sexuality? I mean, other than perhaps going to the restroom and how to put on clothes. And then I know some people say, well, because of that, my child needs to put this on, put that on, da, 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 da. But the point is, it's like being forced upon elementary kids. Elementary kids don't know anything. They're kids. They don't really know what they want. And the studies have shown that a lot of children who's made the decisions to go down the transgender path or what have you, by the time they got to teenage years, they got to high school, they ended up regretting it. But they couldn't revert it. You can't go back. It's not like they're an adult. It's like, okay, I'm an adult. This is how I want to get down. This is what I want to do. They're kids. They don't know. They think they know, but they don't know. Think about it. Shout out to all my parents out here. Shout out to all my parents out here. How many parents, me included, have children who 1 minute they say they like this particular type of food, eat that food, rock with that food. Then all of a sudden, a month, couple of months away, maybe even a year later, change the script on you. I thought you used to like eating hamburgers. No, mom, no, dad. Now I like eating hot dogs. Or they sit up here and they like a certain type of toy or a certain type of character. They're into a certain type of cartoon or shows or what have you, right? And then all of a sudden, a year later, a month later, they change, right? They're kids. They don't know for sure. So we can't be going into that particular way. And yeah, according to my personal opinion, standing on the Bible, I don't agree with it. It is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do, and that's their choice and that's their decision. And, they're going to have to answer and do whatever we all got to answer for the decisions that we make at the end of the day. But the point is, like, we shouldn't be impacting our children like that. Our children don't need to be learning about books like the Gay BCs and stuff like that. And I've done live streams on this. They're all on my channel. I've talked about the books that they teach. They'll bring transgender people into the elementary schools. That's right, elementary schools. And they're teaching your children about how to get down and certain moves and certain things. And then you wonder why children are becoming indoctrinated into a particular way, right? That we normally did not have to go through while we were in school. Listen, back in my day, when I was in school, at best, you might have had that one person in high school. It might have been one or two at best. Now, it's like at the elementary level, it's off the chain. It's off the chain. So this is a good move to protect children, right? I'm going to play a little bit more because I want to show y'all what, as a matter of fact, how about we do this? Let's come back to this. And I want to go over here and show y'all this real quick. All right. So let's take a look at this. We're going to take a look at this real quick.
This is an ABC News special report.
Good morning. I'm Wade Johnson in New York. We're coming on the air because the Supreme Court has just released a potential landmark decision.
Yeah, exactly this. What shout out to the GRL Anime Freak. Says they have drag shows at elementary schools. Y'all, they be having drag shows at elementary schools, man. That's satanic, man. I don't care. Listen, y'all believe what y'all believe. I believe it's satanic and demonic. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on that. But like I said, I rep the Bible and I don't agree with that. That's satanic and demonic to be introducing children to have drag shows. They'll allow drag queens to come into the elementary school. I've got videos on that on my channel. All you got to do is go to my channel and search for it and it'll come right up. They allow drag queens and stuff like that to come in to talk to your elementary kids, but then they don't allow like actual professionals and other stuff to come in, right? That's just disgusting. What's up, Isandra? What's up, Isandra? Good to see you. So anyway, let me play this real quick.
Decision impacting the future of birthright citizenship in the U.S. The justices were asked to roll back nationwide injunctions against the president's attempt to redefine the 14th Amendment, which states that anyone born in the U.S. is automatically a U.S. citizen, regardless of their parents' citizenship status. It's been in place for more than 150 years. But now, in a 6-3 split, the conservative majority ruled that President Trump can move forward with implementing his birthright citizenship change, except for those who brought the case, the 22 states and a group of pregnant immigrant women who brought that case. So it's not directly getting at the 14th Amendment here, but this will have a nationwide impact. Let's go ahead and bring in.
And let me show y'all this real quick. For anybody that don't think they don't have drag queens in schools, look at this. What do you see here? Come on now. I mean, what do y'all see here? Do y'all see this? Yeah, they have drag queens in schools. Y'all see all this? Y'all see these pictures? This is story time inside of schools, right? Show y'all this. Y'all think I'm playing. This is real stuff. I've covered this. Look, y'all seeing this. Why are they allowing this in the schools? And then some people are against, oh, well, I don't see why Trump is, they're shooting down the transgender stuff. Why do you need to tell little kids like this about this? Little kids need to be focusing on little kid stuff. This is crazy, man. This is wow. And then let me show y'all this. Hold on one second here. Let me show y'all this real quick, because I've gone through this. They literally do this. Let me get this on the screen real quick. Take a look at this. They got books like this. These are the books that they read into your children, your elementary children. Right? Shout out to Isandra with the $200 super chat. Man, I appreciate you, Isandra. Wow, $200 super chat. She says, peace and blessings to me, brainwaves. Look, y'all, this is what they teaching in the elementary schools. Hey, I'm keeping it 100 on this channel. I don't play no games on this channel. I'm trying to tell y'all that this is the type of stuff that they do, man. This is the stuff that they do. And let me share this with y'all real quick when we'll get back to the report. Because y'all need to know this, man. We ain't playing around here, okay? If you look here, it says Drag Queen Story Hour is a program where drag performers read stories to children in public spaces like libraries and schools. The program aims to promote literacy, diversity, and acceptance while also challenging traditional gender norms. This is what's going on while we at work. This is what some of these schools are doing. It says the events typically feature a drag queen. I repeat, a drag queen reading children's books, engaging with the audience, and fostering a positive message about gender expression. Y'all know what this is about. While some view it as fun and educational activity, others have raised concerns about the suitability of drag for young children. So this is a real thing. This is a real thing while people thinking that, oh, this is some fake stuff, right? So again, I just kind of on President Trump's ruling, right? On President Trump's ruling, and the Supreme Court more so ruling, Trump is just speaking on it, about them being against transgender, because that's one of the subjects that came up. I'm telling y'all, this is about to be viral in a minute. Everybody's going to be talking about this. Nobody's talking about it now, but they're going to talk about it, right? There's certain things, I'm just going to say this. I do not agree with a child being introduced to sexuality. I don't care if it's heterosexuality. I don't care if it's homosexuality. I don't care if it's LGBTQIA, etc. Right? Children of elementary school age don't need to be talking about sex. That's a whole nother agenda. Now, if you want to talk about adults, if you want to go to somebody that's 18, that's a whole nother conversation. You're an adult and they can do what they do. And I know there's communities. I know there's people that's going to be for this. You have people in the community that's going to be pushing their agenda. They want to indoctrinate the children and expose the children. Listen, man, they're kids. They don't need to be dealing with sex. Do you want elementary school kids having sex and making babies at elementary school? I mean, it's crazy enough when they get to middle school and high school. But this is what people pushing. And there's a reason why certain things are getting blocked. Listen, man, this world is crazy. We got wars. Man, listen, I need to go on real quick. We got war right now, potential war, like Matthew 24:6. There's wars, rumors of wars. I talk about it all the time. Maybe I need to put it on the screen because people think I be playing around with these scriptures. You will hear wars or rumors of wars. We got all this stuff going on. There's some other subjects that I'm going to go live on. I got some other subjects coming that I'm going to go live on a little bit later today. And I'm going to talk about it, right? There's too much going on in the world. We got other things we're focused on the world. And the last thing you want to focus on is your elementary school, your 5-year-old, your 4-year-old in pre-K and kindergarten and first and second and third grade dealing with, oh, mommy, daddy, should I do, like, that's too much. It's too much, right? School is enough. The world is enough. You already got ICE coming into these schools. We got to protect the schools. I work in public safety in the school system. So I'm all about protecting the children. A lot of y'all don't. When y'all drop y'all kids off, I'm the one that's there making sure that they're safe, putting my life at risk just to make sure that your children are safe. And I enjoy every bit of what I do. But the point that I'm making is we gotta make a stand somewhere, because if we don't make a stand with children, if you notice the whole transgender push it was about children, leaving the children alone, right? And now if they become older and they want to become adults and go their way, hey, that's on them. Everybody's free to make decisions, but we're talking about kids. And once you put seeds in kids, once you plant seeds in those children, those seeds are going to grow and then they're going to turn that way. So, I mean, hey, at some point in time, somebody got to hold the line and somebody got to do what's right. Listen, whether you agree with Trump or not, I agree with him on that. There's things that I agree with. There's some things that I don't agree with that Trump's doing. But I agree with him on a lot of these issues. I'm not biased. I'm straight down the middle. If somebody's right, they right. If somebody's wrong, they wrong. And that's one thing that they're right about. But anyway, let me go ahead and continue to play this part because a lot of y'all are here, obviously, for the video content. So let's get back to the video content. I want y'all to understand how this works, and then we'll go ahead and go. Let's go.
Our Devin Dwyer, ABC's senior Washington reporter who's been following the Supreme Court on this. Devin, it's not as straightforward as I think a lot of people were perhaps expecting or hoping to hear. So break down what this actually means.
Well, this was a big surprise, Whit, and this is coming from the youngest conservative justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Amy Coney Barrett, 6-3, as you said, in a big win for Donald Trump, saying he can move forward with that executive order that he issued on day one, changing the definition of citizenship in this country. Practically speaking, it means the president can, in the next...
Like I said, I got to shout out Southern Pride. Southern Pride says they need to take all the books like that out of our schools and leave the kids alone. Exactly. Exactly. Leave the kids alone, man. Let kids be kids and have those kid memories, man. This stuff is crazy. I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue to play this. Appreciate your comment.
30 days begin to develop guidelines for how he would implement that. It does not mean, however, Whit, that this executive order is free from future legal challenge. Legal cases in 3 different districts will continue on the merits. The Supreme Court, in oral argument in this matter, did signal that it was skeptical that it could stand up to legal muster. But at this point, the court is really weighing in on the ability of individual judges in districts around the country to block a president's action nationwide. And what Justice Barrett said today is that an individual federal court judge does not have that authority to broadly block a president. The judge, he or she, can block an individual while a case is being litigated, and in this case that was upheld. So, this order, as it's implemented, cannot apply to those 22 states. It's going to be messy. It cannot apply to those particular pregnant women that are challenging this. But elsewhere in the country, and at the very least in the planning stages, the president can move forward, and that is a significant and surprising win for him.
It sure is. Devin Dwyer, thank you. Please stand by for a moment because I think it's worth going back to the language here in the 14th Amendment. Again, ratified after the Civil War, which states that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. Of course, the Trump administration trying to make changes to that. That's what triggered these series of lawsuits and then ended back at the Supreme Court. Let's bring in our ABC News legal contributor, Sarah Isgur, because Sarah, many are going to be asking now, where does the process go from here in getting back to the root of that question in the 14th Amendment?
Right. This was only about whether the district judge could enjoin the enforcement of that nationwide. What we'll now see is the actual question of what the 14th Amendment means, whether a president acting alone without Congress, without an amendment to the Constitution, can change our understanding of how we've implemented that for the last 150 years. That question will go back to the Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett, in her majority opinion, making clear this decision has nothing to do with the merits of that legal question. The Supreme Court can prevent enforcement of that executive order nationwide. I expect we'll hear more about the merits of that question in the fall. As you read it, the real legal question is on what subject to the jurisdiction thereof means. Is someone who is in the country unlawfully subject to the laws of our country, like a diplomat would not be subject to the laws? At the time of the 14th Amendment, someone who belonged on tribal lands was not subject to our laws. So that's the question that the justices will now have to look at in the fall.
Sarah, thank you. I want to go back to Devin Dwyer. Devin, we're getting more on the dissent. Of course, again, as we pointed out, this was a 6-3 majority decision. So what are we hearing from the liberal justices on the court?
This one did break along ideological lines, Whit, and Justice Sonia Sotomayor, we are told, is taking the rare step of reading her dissent aloud in the chamber behind me right now. And she has said in her written opinion that this is a gross mistake by the Supreme Court. In her words, she warns that no right is safe now in this country. She had hypothesized, Whit, that if a president in the future, say, a Democratic president, decided to issue an order seizing everyone's guns in this country, in her view, that would be lawful until it was struck down by the Supreme Court, that an injunction by a federal judge would not have effect. So a pretty striking statement by the senior liberal. She says that this is really going to upset the apple cart in a whole bunch of cases right now around the country. And we should point out, Whit, that the implications of this decision are going to be quite significant and take some time to figure out. The court today, in saying that individual judges cannot block a president's policy nationwide, will apply to lots of other cases involving Donald Trump, from some of his immigration policies to some of those freezes on federal funding to mass layoffs at federal agencies. Judges have blocked those things on a universal basis, and some of those orders may now need to be rolled back or eliminated with.
And as you pointed out, implementing all of this will be really complicated in the coming days. I do want to go to our chief political correspondent, Rachel Scott, who's joining us now from the White House. And Rachel, just for perspective, from the White House here, I want to go to this quote from Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. This was back in February when she was explaining this. She said the administration believes that birthright citizenship is unconstitutional. So that's really at the heart of all of this.
It is at the heart of all of this, and this is something that the president campaigned on. It was once considered this sort of fringe theory years ago. It's something that President Donald Trump campaigned on and that the Republican Party has embraced. We have not heard directly yet from the administration or from the president himself on this, but I could tell you I can imagine they're going to be very satisfied by what they are hearing in this news from the Supreme Court, because for them, this is, of course, much broader than just this issue of birthright citizenship. This administration and the president's top officials have long argued that these district court judges have too much power, that they should not be allowed to block things that the president campaigned on, that they believe the American people elected him to do and to carry out. And birthright citizenship is one of those things. But also, as Devin did mention there are a series of other things that have been challenged and blocked by some of these lower court judges when it comes to the president's other immigration policies, even some of these freezes that we have seen within the federal government. And so the question now, and what this administration will be looking at, is how broad can this go potentially? Does that mean that some of those other issues will now have to be rolled back? But when we're talking about on the constitutionality of birthright citizenship, we know that is something that, of course, will continue to come up and could very well find itself in front of the Supreme Court again. And while the administration feels firm about this, as you just read from the press secretary right there, they do feel good about their legal standing on the issue of the constitutionality of birthright citizenship. You did hear from some of the conservative justices on the bench during these oral arguments, including Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who was skeptical of just how exactly that could go into effect, raising some concerns about it. But again, this was not necessarily on the merits of that issue, at least for now, Whit.
Yeah, that's the thing. The long-term path, still a lot of questions and unknown. Rachel Scott for us, thank you. I want to bring in ABC's Maria Villarreal, joining us now from Dallas. Maria, I know you've been speaking with immigration attorneys and advocates. This is going to leave a lot of families in limbo.
You know, Whit, at this point, immigration attorneys are saying, listen, this feels like we are splitting the baby. And obviously, we're talking about the merits of, universal injunctions, not necessarily the merits of the case when it comes to birthright citizenship. That being said, most people out there don't really understand the difference between these two. And so this could create a lot of fear in immigrant communities. And that's what they're most concerned about, is the ripple effect, the potential here. Because no doubt the administration is going to see this as a win for them. It's going to push them to move forward, not just on immigration, but other big issues as well. And really, try to get to the community and saying, listen, this is a win for us and a loss for you guys. So you might as well just go ahead and fall in line. Nonprofit organizations right now are trying to get the word out, trying to educate people in these immigrant communities that this is not an absolute loss for them, especially when it has to do with birthright citizenship. But their big concern concern is if communities feel like this is a loss, we might see more protesting. We might see more issues within these communities because it is creating fear.
Maria Villarreal for us and our entire team, thank you once again.
Didn't I tell y'all about the whole fear issue down here on my channel? We're about faith. So what I'm doing is I inform you all of what's going on so that you can make decisions accordingly. You see what I'm saying? You're aware of what's going on. You have clarity of what's going on, and then you can make decisions accordingly. So like everyone's aware of what's been passed down, breaking news, this is what's going on. Again, only thing we can do is make our decisions and move accordingly, right? However you decide, whatever side of the coin you on, wherever you stand or don't stand, that's all we all can do. And that's what I'm doing. I'm informing everyone on what's going on so that we can do whatever it is we need to do. Now, as I've been saying this, I'm not creating fear. What I'm trying to tell y'all is that because of the decisions that have been made, things are going to change and people are going to react. This is common sense. This is wisdom. The Bible talks about in all thy getting, get understanding in Proverbs. And it talks about that wisdom is more valuable than rubies, right? Wisdom. So we have the wisdom here to realize that based upon this ruling as of today, Friday, June the 27th, 2025, that people are going to react. People are not going to be happy with this. We saw some of this in the chat, more particularly with the whole transgender ruling. People are not happy with it. You got some people that came in, was like, hey, I ain't for, hey, it is what it is. Of course, people are not going to be happy with it. And you're welcome on my platform to share how and why you're unhappy with it. I'm just saying things are going to be changing. Things are going to progress forward. And I have a saying that I've said this entire year as well as towards the latter half of 2024. 2025 is the year to shake up, break up, wake up, make up. Nobody else says that but me. So if you ever hear anybody else say that, they got it from brainwaves. 2025 is the year to shake up, break up, wake up, make up. Nobody can sit on their behinds. Things will progress forward, whether we like it or not. We've got to make changes. We've got to evolve. We've got to progress forward. We got to grow. We are creatures of evolution. We have been created, designed to evolve, to become better. We want our children to become better than us. Our parents wanted us to become better than them, et cetera, et cetera. There has to be progression. So there's been things that we've been stagnant on. There's been things that we've been stuck on, and we got to move forward. And so what we're experiencing right now is that tug of war. You got Democrats, Republicans and Democrats. You got I agrees and you got I disagrees. You got these laws and you don't have these laws. You got people for this and you got people against this. We got this tug of war going on right now. And that's what America's experiencing as well as the world. That's what's going on. Why? Because we need to make a stance right now. People need to make choices and move accordingly. And that's why I'm showing you all of this so that y'all can be informed. Y'all see what it is. We got the full breakdowns. We got the full understanding. And then people can make decisions accordingly on how they're going to move and react or not move, right? That's your decision, right? We all have been given free will. So it's your decision to make your choice accordingly. But let me play, I think, a few more seconds of this. We're going to get back to President Trump.
In a 6-3 split decision, the conservative majority ruling that President Trump can move forward in implementing his birthright citizenship change. However, questions still remain about the 14th Amendment and what that could mean in terms of the constitutionality going forward. So we'll wait to see how that plays out. This is the final day of the Supreme Court's term, and there will be more decisions coming out later today. We will bring them all to you as our coverage continues on ABC News Live, abcnews.com.
So I'm going to get back to President Trump speaking. But look, there's more that's going to be coming out to this, like I've been trying to tell y'all that. There's more. We haven't seen anything yet. There's more that's about to come out, y'all. Okay? So that's why I'm letting y'all know. We see what it is now, but it's all about to change. And you're going to see all the other content creators start jumping on this subject, which is fine because the word needs to be gotten out. But what I want y'all to understand is that regardless of what's going on, whether you're impacted negatively, and I'm going to go ahead and hit play in just a second, whether you're impacted negatively, right? You believe that these decisions impact you on the negative side. Do not live in fear. Okay? Listen. Do not live in fear. Okay? Wrong scripture. Do not live in fear. Here we go. We're looking at 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So we have to move forward without being in fear. Do you understand? We don't need to be afraid about what's going on. We just need to be aware about it, and then we move accordingly. That's basically what I've been saying all along. If you obviously believe that these laws, the decisions that were made out of the Supreme Court affect you in the right mind, it doesn't impact you negatively, it impacts you positively, same thing. God has not given us the spirit of fear. So we're going to continue to do what we got to do. A lot of people are moving out of fear. They're taking kids out of public schools. Why? Because they're afraid that they're going to get exposed to things. That you're making fear-based decisions. You need to make faith-based decisions, sound mind, power, and love decisions, not fear decisions. You got people's like, well, I can't go to this city, or I can't come out and work. Think about what you heard in the news about the migrants and the illegals. You know, a lot of them, they's like, hey, I ain't coming to work. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. Why? Because they're moving out of fear. They're not moving out of faith. They're moving out of fear. And here's one thing about America. The Hispanic, Latino, Mexican community is not the only community that has gone through things in here. I mean, even my own community, being black, I've gone through a whole lot of stuff personally, let alone watching family or watching other people in my ethnicity. And there's other ethnicities that's gone through stuff in here in America. You know, you got the Indians. I really don't want to get into all of that, but the point that I'm making is welcome to America. You want to come here. You want to be here. This is how we get down. This is how we've been getting down. Study our history. Everybody want to come in here and jump camp and run from where they come from for their country, and they want to come here. Okay, that's fine. But you got to understand what has been taking place here. And how at some point in time, we got to stop it and we got to change it and we got to do better. When you know better, you got to do better. Right? But a lot of people just come up in here and they don't know. They think it's one thing, but they didn't do the research. It's just like going to work for a job. You putting in your job application and you trying to get hired on a job. You didn't ask nothing about the company. On an interview, they say, do you have any questions for me? No, I ain't got no questions. You didn't do your research. You didn't do anything. And then when you get hired on the job, it's like, oh, congratulations, John Doe. Congratulations, Jane Doe. You're hired for the job. Then you get on the job. You find out about all the dynamics going on. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I ain't know it was like this. You should have did your research. You could have interviewed people, asked people, etc. That's how it is with the migrants coming over here. And then they getting upset about how things happen. Now, it's a whole nother conversation about what's right. Individual situations of people being done wrong. Like I said, I'd have been done wrong many a times. You don't see me bitching and complaining. I mean, I do what I need to do as it relates to this. I've been done wrong. I've been in a lot of situations being black and put in situations where it was straight up wrong. You don't see me complaining, right? But I did what I needed to do by the grace of God. And see, that's what this is ultimately about, us moving by the grace of God. But let me get back to President Trump. You know, I gotta tell y'all, because this is where I stand on things. So I gotta share the Most High with y'all. Anyway, let's go.
If you look at the back at the last week, it's been extraordinary in terms of the action in the Middle East. You were at The Hague. I'm wondering now.
Hell of a week, hasn't it?
I'm wondering now if you believe that Iran. I'm wondering now, sir, if you believe that Iran has given up its long history of ambitions with nuclear weapons, or what you would like to see from them to prove that they do, and what type of meetings is your administration looking for next week with Iran?
So Iran wants to meet. As you know, their sites were obliterated. They're very evil nuclear sites. They were now has been proven. We had some fake news for a little while. The same people that covered the Hunter Biden laptop was from Russia. The same people that did 3 or 4 other Russia hoax.
But on their
no, wait, just listen. They came up with something that delayed the credit that our great pilots and these great what talent that was, and they hit it right down in the spot. 52,000 feet. Think of this dark, no moon, you couldn't see a thing. And they hit the refrigerator door, as they say. That's the size of a target. And overwhelmingly, and it's amazing what was done. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we took out the 2 of the other sites also. In addition to that, we finished them off. That was a very evil intention. I believe that, and again, time will tell, but I don't believe that they're going to go back into nuclear anytime soon. They spent over $1 trillion on nuclear, and they never got it together. And nothing was moved from the site, by the way. To do that is very dangerous. It's very, very heavy material. Those cars were most likely the cars of masons because they were pouring concrete at the top, at the hatch, as you know, the hatch going into the nuclear site. They wanted to reinforce it, and they had some masons there pouring concrete. By the way, that...
I want to say something real quick. All right. I see an interesting conversation going on in the live chat. All right. I want to say something, okay? Like I told y'all, there is change that needs to take place, okay? When you are presented with change, people don't like change. People want stuff to stay the same way, right? People hate when stuff change. Oh, now we got to change this. Oh, we got to change this. And listen, for every one person that likes the change, you will have at least one other person that does not like the change. No matter who's president, no matter who's in charge, no matter what's taking place, you're going to have one person that likes the change, and you're going to have another person that does not like the change. But the fact remains that we must change. We have been stagnant in so many areas for so long that change was inevitable. And so a lot of people are taking things out on Trump because things are changing. But God is using Trump. I didn't say that God elected Trump. I said God is using Trump to allow these changes to take place on this particular scale, just like he's using other individuals around the world to allow things to take place. Whether you agree with the change or not, change needs to take place. Okay? And a lot of y'all are upset with just the simple fact that, oh man, this is changing. Now we can't do this. Now we can't do that. Listen, the change, if we allow the change process, like Victor was saying, shout out to Victor Mikolai. He was saying that, talking about change, if we allow the process of change to take place, then the change could take place and we can go ahead and have things in position the way it needs to be. But if we're combating the change, then we're just stagnating that process, and it's like torture, right? It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. Sometimes you just got to rip that sucker off. Sometimes you just got to go through the, people say, hey, we're going to jump on 3. 1, boom. Sometimes you just need to jump on 1. We're waiting to 3 and then stalling. We're like waiting to get into a pool that's cold, or a lake, or go swimming and it's cold. We like, I don't really want to get in. Sometimes you just got to jump in. Once that change takes place, then we're able to do what it is that we need to do, right? And a lot of these things were talked about biblically speaking. A lot of these things need to take place, right? And people got to understand that ultimately God is in control. The Most High is in control. Regardless whether you feel that Trump is the devil or Trump is some type of a savior. Again, I rock with the Bible. I rock with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I'm not idolizing and worshiping no pastor, no leader, no president, none of that. I respectfully move accordingly, but I ain't worshiping nobody. The point that I'm making is that everything is the way it's supposed to be to cause change to happen. And unfortunately, because of our stubbornness and our unwillingness to change, to adapt to change, things sometimes have to get chaotic before that change comes, because we're fighting and we don't want to move forward. Now, I know it's people that's listening to me speak right now and they don't agree. That's fine. I don't expect everybody to agree. This is exactly what I said. For every one person that agrees with me, there's at least one or more who disagrees with me. But I'm trying to make a point here. Whether you agree with me or not, I told y'all 2025 is the year of the shake up, break up, wake up, make up. Everything is being shooken up. Things are being breaking up. People are waking up, and things and situations are actually being made up the way they're supposed to be. And when I say made up, I'm not talking about lies, although you could include that too, because there are lies and fake news going on. You just heard President Trump say that. But what I'm saying is that situations are getting made up for the better. Situations are getting made up for the better. Sometimes it's like when you got two people in school, they young. Sometimes you got to let they out and they disagree. Let them knuckle it out. Let them get into that disagreement. After that, next thing you know, those two boys will be best of friends. Sometimes you just got to have that clash and then boom, or let them knuckle it out in the ring or knuckle it out wherever it is through sports, or let them compete it out, whatever it is. Y'all know what I'm trying to say, right? Because everybody want to get politically correct. Oh, Brainwaves is talking about kids fighting. Listen, change is inevitable and we have to move forward. We have to transition. Even when our bodies cease to exist, our spirit still exists. Change is inevitable. We change forms. We change from babies into children, into young adults, into seniors. We change our preferences. Change is inevitable. And that's what people are upset with ultimately. And we're watching the entire world change. Listen, this ain't an American thing. This is a biblical thing. The entire world is changing before our eyes. And what I'm doing is I'm giving y'all updated information. I'm keeping y'all abreast to what's going on out here so that we like, wow, I didn't know it was changing like that. Okay, now that this is changing, I'm going to move accordingly. Again, whether you're for it or whether you're against it, you can move accordingly. And that's all we can do. Take our free will and move accordingly, right? That's all I can say. I'm about to go ahead and hit the video. Let me read this comment. Shout out to Anna Gamble. She says, thank God for Trump. I'm for him all the way. And yes, everything that was hidden will be exposed. It's for our good. Like I said, a lot of people is like, man, why Trump got to be in office for those who didn't vote for him and those that didn't support him? Listen, he is allowing the change to take place, right? If we had Kamala in here, let me just break this down real quick and I'll play the video. Y'all know good and well, if Kamala Harris won the presidency, it was going to be the same thing of how Biden was running things. And I'm not getting into no name calling and no disrespect, right? I'm being respectful here. I know a lot of y'all want to disrespect Kamala, but it is what it is. That's on you. I'm just moving respectfully. Listen, if Kamala was the president right now, we would have the same old beats, same old flows, same old streets, same old roads, same old speech, same old shows. Everybody sound the same. Look around, it's nothing changed. Nothing would change. It would be very little that would have changed. You would have people still complaining, still whining. We would still be going through stuff, right? It would just be a slow trickle. Maybe this would change here or there, but it would be essentially the same dynamics. Ever since Trump got in office, boom, we only months in, right? Since January, it's still June. We about to hit July. We only months in, and look at all the things that have changed, right? So these changes are inevitable. The Bible says that these things must happen. Look, y'all think that Trump is the reason why we having war? Look at what the Bible says. The Bible, in this one scripture alone, y'all don't even want me to have a Bible study with y'all. Because if I show you all the scriptures, y'all gonna be like, whoa. Some of y'all already know. Matthew 24:6, it says that such things must happen. So when you hear about wars and when you hear about rumors of wars or about New York City supposed to get hit, we're getting intel and all of this, such things must happen. But the end is still to come. This is not the end of the world. So don't let these doom and gloom content creators tell you it's the end of the world, because it's not. It's not the end of the world. And see to it that you are not alarmed. See to it that you're not troubled about what's going on. Listen, this news right here, this news report, a lot of people are being troubled about it. The Bible says to not be troubled. Listen, y'all, I'm only sharing this information so you can be equipped with it. Knowledge is power. Wisdom is power. So I want you to be armed with that knowledge and that wisdom. But do not be alarmed by it. Do not be upset about it, because such things must happen. So whether Kamala was the president of the United States or whether Trump was the president of the United States, such things must happen. These things would have came to pass. It just would have played out a different way. If Kamala was president, then it might have played out stateside. Y'all, I showed y'all about the Israeli, and I put it to members only, but I might actually put it back publicly, that the Israeli Prime Minister Ben Netanyahu, he actually was caught trying to stage a false flag on U.S. soil and then blame it on Iran, so that everybody can go in on Iran and think that Iran is the enemy. I'm telling you, man, it's a lot going on here. We just need to be wise, right? Be wise as a serpent and be harmless as a dove. Let me show you that scripture, and then we'll go ahead and move back onto the video. I'm trying to educate y'all because I want y'all to be equipped. So if we look at this scripture right here, which is Matthew chapter 10, verse 16, it reads, "Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves." That's how we're supposed to be moving out here. You as wise as a snake, but you as harmless as a dove. Come on now. So let's get back to this and see what he got to say.
The concrete was obliterated. It hit exactly at the concrete. It was, I don't think it had a chance to dry, but everything's down there. It's under millions of tons of rock. Please. Yes.
Your administration has said that El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the hemisphere. So why haven't you yet canceled temporary protective status to that country? Was it part of the deal?
Well, we'll take a look. We've had a great relationship with El Salvador. They have a fantastic leader. They built a massive prison system. And I don't know exactly why, but it's a hell of a system. And we bring people there, and when they go there, they don't get out. And frankly, when they hear they have to go there, they become very nice people. They become very nice people. It's a tough system, but it's a brilliant system. And it's a system done by a very, very good leader. We'll talk about El Salvador. A lot of respect. Yeah, please.
Thank you. A question for you, and then a question for the Attorney General. As you go into negotiations and talks with Iran, are you demanding not only that there would be no uranium production inside of Iran, but also that Iran would turn over all existing stockpiles of uranium?
Well, you know, we're a little early for that, but something like that, yeah, we'll do something like that. Let me say that I've been saying for 25 years, even as a civilian, you cannot let them have a nuclear weapon. And that's what happened. It's been obliterated. It would be years before they could ever get going. And I really think it's probably the last thing. They have to recover from a hell of a tough war.
Would you also be demanding that the IAEA have full rights to inspect in Iran?
Or somebody, yeah. Or somebody that we respect, including ourselves.
And a question for both the President and the Attorney General. Under Birthright Citizenship, if this is implemented, who would be tasked with actually vetting citizenship? And how, like, would this be a situation where you have nurses and doctors checking for citizenship of parents? Or
This is all pending litigation. It's going to be decided in October by the Supreme Court, and we'll discuss that after the litigation.
If you have an undocumented baby, would that baby then be an enforcement priority?
The violent criminals in our country are the priority now. Let me put it in perspective. Today marked the 2,711th arrest in our country of TDA members. Just
Do y'all hear what's going on? I want y'all to understand this, right? Listen. We have a lot of violent crimes. Listen, y'all, let me break something down. I work in public safety, okay? Primarily in the school system. There's a lot that goes on in the school system that you all as parents or what have you have no idea that takes place on a daily basis. But I know about it. Why? Because I'm in charge of enforcing certain things, protecting certain things, moving a certain way. Well, a lot of us are unaware of how many illegals that are in this country that are bringing harm, that are causing harm, right? And I had talked about this in one of my other live streams about what's going on with this particular or potential war with here in America with Israel and Iran. Now, I talked about terrorist cells or sleeper cells. A lot of those people have illegally entered the country through Mexico, through the south borders. I showed the information, I showed the footage. And if we don't do something about it, there will continue to come in. So everybody's upset because these particular set of rulings are coming out and taking place. But what this allows the Trump administration to do is move forward with everything that's going on and stop sitting here delaying. Because think about it. It's like when people know that something didn't get passed, that's a loophole. They say, hey, you can come in, you can get in. And then when they come in and get in, see, let me make this clear. A lot of people here are looking at this from the perspective of the innocent people. That's not what they're talking about. Pam is not talking about that. I'm not talking about that. President Trump's not talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. There is a path for the innocent people. And a lot of people try to act like they innocent when they wicked. See, a lot of this got to do with sin. You got a lot of people's like, oh, the wicked police, the wicked ICE, and all of this. They're coming through. They're getting us these ICE agents. But yet you got people throwing rocks at them, throwing bricks, using weapons, doing all types of things to attack them. So let me get this straight. If somebody attacks you here and you in America, do you believe that it's right for you to just sit back and let them attack you? Or do you believe you have a right to defend yourself? Because that's exactly what's going on. Yeah, it's out of control. Look, y'all, I'm here in Atlanta, right? I'm here in the A. You know what I'm saying? Born and raised, ATLian, ATL, ho. I'm here in Atlanta, but I got family all across the country, literally from the East Coast to the West Coast and in between. Just like Sunshine Milton says, immigrant crime here in Houston, Texas is out of control. Listen, it's out of control. And if we don't have any type of legal way of speeding up the process or being able to move forward, they're going to be able to stay here legally and just completely tear our cities and everything apart. Right? This is crazy. And by the way, ES, I got Native American blood in me. So I'm also part Native American. I'm more American than a lot of people here realize. I don't really want to get into that, but the point that I'm making is it's out of control. Y'all seem to forget what happens. What happens if there's no law enforcement and there's no military? Then that means that us as the people got to take control. So how many of y'all want to get off your job, risk losing your job? You got to get your kids, and you the one that got to instill order. You the one that got to go fight these people, potentially get injured, get hurt, keep order. Nobody wants to do that. Right? Nobody wants to do that. But then people want to insult those that want to do that. And what we're seeing here from the Supreme Court ruling is a ruling to do what's right. Listen, y'all, don't y'all know that having laws and following that is also biblical? It's biblical. Let me show y'all something real quick. Let me show y'all just one scripture, right? We'll do this. We'll go to this one. I'm just going to show y'all one here. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this real quick. All right, this is what I'm telling you. Our nation is in sin. This is supposed to be a nation founded on God's principles of the Bible. That's what America's supposed to be, right? Well, if you look here, Romans chapter 13, verse 1, it says, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. So this means that the law enforcement has been established by God. The military has been established by God. Our judicial system has been established by God. Our rules, our laws, our constitution, our checks and balances, all our different branches, presidential and executive, judicial, all these branches, all these things have been established by God, the government. Now, I know there's wicked rulers in high places. The Bible talks about we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but wicked rulers in high places. It's the principalities, right? I understand that. The point is we have been in sin in America. And what we have is an influx of sin trying to come into America. The wages of sin are death. If we allow sin to go on, it's going to be death. Now listen, anybody that wants to come into this country is breaking the law, which is sin. And that leads to death. This is why we got destruction going on right now in our cities across the country. This is why we got destruction all over the place. Right? Come on now. Look at here, Romans Chapter 6, verse 23, it says, for the wages of sin is death. That's either a physical death, a death of your money, death of your status, death of your reputation, economic relationships. There's going to be some form of a death. It says, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord, right? The point that I'm making is that there's a lot of people that want to break laws and not do things the right way and enter the country. And then when they in the country, because they're illegally in the country, they want to commit more sin, more crime, and tear things up. So when you see President Trump and the Supreme Court and all this pass these rulings, y'all don't see how God is actually working to clean all this stuff up. And a lot of people want to stay in sin because they've been comfortable in sin for so long. Come on now. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people wanted to support the Kamala Harris campaign. It's not the only reason. I get it. You see what I'm saying? I've been there and done that. Been in politics. No, look, I've been there and done it. I get it. I'm telling y'all from a spiritual perspective, there was a lot of sin that was allowed and a lot of sin that would have continued to be allowed. And we just kept with it sliding and sliding and sliding. And anytime you the one that speak out against sin and you do stuff, you get attacked. Blessed are those who are persecuted for his name's sake. Whether that person is righteous or not, whether that person is following the true biblical principles or not, what I'm trying to say is that if they are trying to accomplish something, that God will have that person to do. Because God works through all people. God can use all things. There's literally scriptures on this. So for people to say, oh, Trump is wicked, God can use the wicked, God can use the righteous. He uses all things for the good of those that love him. All things. I'm telling y'all. Y'all got to understand this stuff, man. It's not like so black and white, but there's scriptures about that. And I could show y'all Romans. I'll just show that to y'all, man. I'll just show that to y'all and I'll get back to the thing. Listen, y'all, this is what this is about. Romans 8:28. And we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Right? So that's what we're seeing right now. And a lot of people is like, oh, there's a lot of issues. So let me get your girl back on here. Okay. Again, whether you believe that these are wicked people in these places, the Most High can use anything and anyone to carry out his purpose. And part of that purpose is we need to change for the better. Let's go.
That baby then be an enforcement priority.
The violent criminals in our country are the priority now. Let me put it in perspective. Today marked the 2,711th arrest in our country of TDA members. Just TDA. Everyone in this room agrees they are one of the most violent criminal organizations in the world. And the Biden administration let them walk into our country for the last 4 years. 2,711 of them today have been arrested in our country. That is the priority of Donald Trump. That is the priority of this country, of Homeland Security, of all of our lawyers, of FBI. That's the priority. That will be discussed in October when the Supreme Court hopefully rules in our favor, and we're very confident of that. But you should all feel safer now that President Trump can deport all of these gangs, and not one district court judge can think they're an emperor over this administration and his executive powers and why the people of the United States elected him.
And see, on that note, that's what y'all got to stop and think. Everybody's saying that Trump is evil here. You got to stop and think. You got these district judges, these judges here was actually stopping her and stopping Trump from getting these people out. So who's the wicked one here? Trump is trying to get them out, but then they're stopping him from getting out. Right? It's crazy, man. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
I just might add one thing. And, you know, they used birthright citizenship, some of the worst people, some of the cartels, to get people into our country, just so you know.
And I want to say something, too, because you got one person here. You got Alex Poor said, y'all be brainwashed thinking Trump is any better than the Democrats. I'm not even a Democrat. Y'all brainwashed, and it shows. Listen, first of all, I didn't even vote for Trump. Let's get something straight. I did not vote for Trump. And here I am being fair and balanced when it comes to Trump. What you have is whether somebody's right for the job, they right for the job. They wrong for the job, they wrong for the job. Right? This got nothing to do with brainwashing. This has everything to do with where we're going. Now, how could me, being somebody who didn't vote for Trump, actually agree with a policy? That's because I'm not biased. That's because I'm not racist. That's because I'm not judgmental. I don't go into those bias just because. A lot of people are biased. Right? Like I said, if anything, I'm independent. If anything, that's what I identify as, an independent. Right? If somebody's doing what needs to be done and what's best, that's the best course of action we can take. Because we didn't see the Democrats doing anything differently as it relates to this. This stuff was still going on. They took setting up the border wall and the border patrol. They took all this as a joke. They laughed at that. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Meanwhile, all these crimes, y'all wonder why the crime rate's going up and all this action and stuff is taking place. All these so-called people was attacking. You see what I'm saying? They was attacking the police, especially like in New York. It's crazy, man. This is crazy, man. Like I said, change needs to take place. Let's go.
And again, I say, if you look at the end of the Civil War, the 1800s, it was a very turbulent time. If you take the end day, was it 1869 or whatever, but you take that exact day, that's when the case was filed. And the case ended shortly thereafter. This has to do with the babies of slaves, very, very obviously. And I think we're going to win. People I don't think they went about discussing it right. I came along and we looked and we said, wait a minute, this is wrong. We've been looking at birthright citizenship wrong for years, but they've used it. The cartels have used birthright citizenship to get very bad people in. And what Pam's doing and what Todd and everybody else, what they're doing at DOJ and all over, FBI, ICE, Border Patrol, these are incredible people. They're trying to keep our country safe, and they don't want to have people come in. This is just another way that they get illegal immigrants into our country, and in some cases, very, very bad ones. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On your tax bill, if I could for a moment, senators are racing to rewrite parts of it right now after the Senate parliamentarian ruled that sections of it were outside of the process that they're using to get this through. Do you think that senators should respect the decisions of the parliamentarian? And what have you personally done in the last 48 hours to try and get Republican senators who are against the bill to a yes?
Well, look, it's a great bill. It's a massive tax cut. If it's not approved, your taxes will go up by 68%. Think of that, 68, a record, the highest in the history. The Democrats won't approve it only because politically it's so good for the Republicans. The Democrats aren't approving it. But think of what they're not approving. They're not approving border security. We've done a great job at the border, but we have to add some wall. We have to do, various things. We have no money for that. We have no money for the border. We have no money for so many things.
And you got people in the comment section saying that the wall is useless. Yeah, the wall didn't work because there wasn't enough wall, like they didn't have the funding and they didn't get the job done to complete the border. So, of course, they're going to enter where there's a gap. It shouldn't take rocket science to put that together. If the wall is not complete, then people going to come in where it's open. Just like if you got a fence or you got property, and if it's open there, folks going to cut through your yard or your property right where it's open. But that doesn't mean that it's a waste for you to have a fence. You just didn't get to complete it yet, right? So it's like it's a lot to this. And the thing is, criticism can be had on both sides of the coin. Right? We can criticize the Republicans just as much as the Democrats. We can criticize the Democrats just as much as the Republicans. Right? There's criticism. Listen, we can criticize the Democrats just as much as the Republicans now. Are y'all sure y'all really want to go down that alley? Because you got people in the chat sitting up here acting like the Democrats are innocent when they just as guilty. Like, we don't even want to go down that particular alley. Right? But the thing is, it's just the fact that something's being done about it. You have a problem and the problem's getting rectified regardless of who's in right now. We got issues in this country and we're having these problems get resolved. People say that a wall doesn't work. So you tell me about how a wall doesn't work at a prison. If walls don't work, if there's no point in building a wall, then why do prisons have walls with barbed wire at the top and towers with guards with guns ready to shoot anybody that's ready to get out or slow them down? But walls don't work. Of course, if the wall is not completed, it's not finalized. It's not the finished product. And there was a lot on why it didn't get finished. And I don't really want to get into that because that's going to derail this stream. But anyway, let's get back to the stream.
But if the Democrats, it'd be interesting to see if we get any Democrat votes. We should. If I were a Democrat, I would absolutely, maybe Fetterman, because he seems to be the most sensible one lately. If I were a Democrat, I would vote for this bill all day long because it's tax cuts and so many other things that are common sense. They're basic things. I think they're doing fine. The parliamentarian's been a little difficult. And I would say that I disagree with the parliamentarian on some things, and on other ways he's been fine. But we'll have to see. It's a big issue. I will tell you this: if that bill doesn't pass, the country will get a 68% tax increase. So think of this: you're a Democrat and you vote against it. That means you're voting in favor, because essentially you're voting in favor of the largest tax hike in the history of our country. And you can't do that. In addition, we're cutting costs by $1.7 trillion, and it won't affect anybody. It's just fraud, waste, and abuse.
Mr. President, a leading global economist just did a 180 and says your tariff plan, you may have outsmarted everybody with it. What is your message?
I love this. I love this question. This is the favorite. This is the best question I've ever been asked, because I've been going through abuse for years on this. Because as you know, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars, no inflation whatsoever.
But Mr. President, what is your message to critics who think your tariff plan will cause a recession?
I think they should go back to business school. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I mean, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars from China and a lot of other countries.
Listen, the tariffs is not going to cause a recession, because we already got the stock market is broken records, right? I don't think y'all realize the stocks are broken records. You've got individual companies negotiating with China, wherever it is that they have their plants and manufacturing or what have you. They're negotiating even independently with them to work out deals and do things. As it stands, you see how things are. Sure, things are going to go up, or potentially could go up in certain areas and have gone up maybe here or there, but then you have things that have been offsetted as well. And you have some things that did not go up at all. It's a deeper conversation than what I'm saying, but it's not at the point where it's going to cause a recession, right? Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all something real quick. Look at this. As of today, because the Dow just closed. Look at this. As of today, okay, it says that the Dow Jones Industrial Average has reached a new record high close today. June 27th, 2025. It says the index closed at 43,952, surpassing its previous record close of 43,065.22. If you want to, 0.22 or whatever. This marks a 1.3% increase for the day. The S&P 500 also hit a new record high, closing at 6,173.06, which is up 0.52%. So we're not about to go into a recession. We're not about to go into a recession based upon this. Not about to go into any type of recession right now. Everybody's out and about during the summer. People spending money, people going places, people buying things. Obviously it ain't like people sitting at home. It may not be quote unquote ideal, but it's not recession. We ain't facing no recession. Look, y'all, I'm gonna tell you, me personally, I've had more money right now in my pocket than I've had ever. So I don't know about y'all. I don't know if y'all understand economics. Like Trump said, maybe you need to go to economic school. I'm a business and marketing major in college. You know what I'm saying? That's what my degrees are. So I understand how to get it. I understand how to make money. I understand how to put food on the table for my family. Perhaps maybe you need some tips or some guidance, and it's out there. But we're far from a recession type of economy. And this is the type of economy that a lot of the Democrats said that we would be in right now. Right? Okay. And I'm strategically set up where I'm good. Right? And more importantly, I'm not concerned with that. I'm not on no fear-mongering tip, and nor do I encourage y'all to be on no fear-mongering tip. Listen, y'all, when you hearing a lot of talk about how this is good, but a lot of people want things to be bad, right? And we don't talk about that. We meditate on the good things. That's what the Bible says. The Bible tells you to meditate on the good things. Right? What does the Bible tell you to meditate on? Good things. I might have to actually put the scripture up. Right? Because y'all, like, I'm telling you, we cannot be thinking on bad. A lot of people's like, it's going to get bad. It's going to get bad. Well, now that Trump's in, everything's going to fall. That's fear mongering. That's doom and gloom. And we don't do that here on my platform. We don't do that here on my platform. Not on my platform. I mean, maybe some of y'all might get down like that, but we don't get down. Look at what the scripture says real quick. Okay, let's read what the scripture says, and then we'll go from there. It says in Philippians 4:8, it says, meditate on these things. Not meditating that the economy is about to fall out and the sky's about to collapse. That's what these demon content creators do. The ones who pose themselves as righteous. They say, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Hebrew Israelite, right? And they be telling you they'll use scripture, but then they'll doom and gloom you. The sky's going to fall out. You're going to have to take the mark of the beast. Everything is over. You're going to lose your money. The cities are going to burn. It's all over. Remember, see that you're not troubled. And when I showed y'all Matthew 24:6, wars, rumors of wars, see that you're not troubled. The end is not yet. And now we're looking at Philippians 4:8, which says, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, not things that are false. Right now, the economy has not fallen out. That's false. We're not in a recession right now. That's false. That's false. That's not a true statement. The Bible says whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, these are good things, not bad things. Whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely. We need to be having lovely thoughts, not thoughts about everything about to be bad. Things being bad, that's not a lovely thought. That's fear mongering. That's doom and gloom. It says whatever things are of good report. Talking about how the economy's in a recession and it's all over. Democrats been hollering that story for a long time. Oh, Trump's getting in, everything's bad. But yet I know some of these same Democrats buying cars, buying homes, traveling everywhere, and they ain't complaining about their money. Some of these same Democrats that was complaining prior to Trump getting in office ain't got nothing to say now. Seems like things are lovely right now. When I look outside, when I look around the world, I look at least here in America, I see a lot of people out and about for the summer. They taking summer trips, they gone, they doing stuff. That's what it says. It says whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there is any virtue and if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on those things. That's what we do here in this channel. We not on no doom and gloom tip. And I've been giving y'all the scriptures the entire time. Right? We not on no doom and gloom. That's not what we do here. Everybody want to doom and gloom. Shout out to Erica. Praise the Most High for that. Erica Scott says she receives that. Erica, listen, y'all. Let me make this clear. To Erica Scott, to everybody here watching and listening to my channel. Right? Whether you agree with what I'm saying or not, I'm telling y'all, receive the opportunities that are here. This is a time of change for you all. You all can have positive change, not negative change. Stop looking at everything as negative. Look at it as positive. This is a time of powerful, positive change. Seize the energy of change. You can change your circumstances for the better. You can come up. Things are changing. Things are even changing as I speak with my channel. For the first time in a while, I had a lot of wonderful people come through and grace my channel during this live stream. I had like 1,100 people in the live stream earlier. That's a change for the way that my particular live streams had been. That's a positive change. That is a blessed change. That is a praiseworthy change. I can do a praise report on that. How my channel's being blessed. And if God can do it for me because he's not a respecter of persons, then he can and is doing it for y'all. A lot of the people that's in my chat have already given me praise reports. Come on now. Listen, man, we all from different backgrounds. We all from different parts of the country, et cetera, well, even the world. But this one fundamental fact that I'm talking about is a fact. What's up, Teddy? Teddy says, think positive and live positive. That's what we on around here. We on team winning. Listen, if y'all want to be on the losing team, hey, that's on you. But over here, we on the winning team. Everybody that come to my platform, whether you realize it or not, even if you upset and you mad, God led you to my platform so that you can receive an anointed word, so that you could be edified, so that a positive, righteous, biblical seed could get planted in your life. So that when you leave my platform, even if you mad, even if you upset, even if you don't agree with me, you're going to look at your life and say, man, something about my life is better. Something about my life has gotten better. Something about my life has gotten better. That's the blessings of the Most High. That's the blessings of God to impart that on you, right? And you got people that's going to come in the chat and think that instead of meditating on the good things like the scripture says, they're going to think that it's something bad. They're going to turn things into bad. And listen, it is what it is. Presidents are selected, not elected. So it is what it is. He's in office. Ain't nothing can be done about it. Y'all tried to assassinate this man twice. You tried to take him out. It is what it is. He in office, right? We just need to get over it. It is what it is. I mean, we're supposed to be making God. That's who we're supposed to be following and listening to ultimately. It's not Trump, right? He's leading our country, but ultimately we put our faith and trust in God. So regardless who's leading the country, we put our faith and trust in God. And we're going to stay positive. We're going to think positive. We're going to move forward. Again, this is information to inform you all on what's going on, the recent changes, the breaking news, and we are going to go ahead and move accordingly. Come on now. Let's go. Let's listen to what he has to say.
We took in, I had a call from somebody in the House and a high official. Sir, we have a problem. We don't know what to do. The books are a mess. I said, what do you mean by the books? The books, the money coming in. It's so terrible. I figured, oh boy, what's this? I don't like this question. I said, so what seems, there's so much money coming in and there must be some kind of an accounting mistake because we have hundreds of billions of dollars more money than we thought. I said, do me a favor, go check call me back. You have to call me back. Check the tariff column. Calls me back 2 hours later, says, you're right. We took in $88 billion in tariffs. They have so much money coming in. But more important than the money coming in, we have companies coming in, factories coming in, auto plants being built. AI is being built here instead of being built all over Europe and Asia. We have all of it. We have over $15 trillion, just about, Scott. I think we're right about that number. We went to Saudi Arabia. We went to Qatar. We went to UAE. Very smart people, very smart leaders, great leaders. And we took in $5.1 trillion just there without the tariffs. I mean, they also liked a thing called November 5th, November 6th, and November 7th. That was a very good little period of time. It's called the presidential election. You know, you used to have one-day election. Now you have it go over it. But even if you just took that little period, because it was pretty obvious it was going to be a landslide. And they like that, but they love the tariffs. I had Texas Instruments come in the other day, big company, and he said, we're putting in $60 billion into new plants and new equipment, new everything. Sir, you're going to keep the tariffs, aren't you? Because if I ever took the tariffs off, and we are going to absolutely keep it. And they're worried that somebody that, like this communist from New York, someday gets elected. I can't believe that's happening. That's a terrible thing for our country, by the way. He's a communist. We're going to go to a communistic state. That's so bad for New York. But the rest of the country is revolting against it. But if somebody got elected, they're afraid that if this was taken off, well, we're going to guarantee It's never going to be taken off. And again, we're taking in think of this, hundreds of billions of dollars. And they were all confused because they've never seen this before. You know, it's always the other way. We don't have enough money. So much money is coming in at levels that nobody's ever seen. But most importantly, we have factories being built, car plants being built, companies moving to our country like never before. If you look at 15 trillion, and that's only in a few months. You know, I haven't been here that long. Presidents like the last one was a disaster. He's the worst president in the history of our country, by the way. What he did on our border can never, ever be forgotten. To me, that's the worst of all the things. And he's done some terrible things, grossly incompetent. Nobody knew it was him because I don't think it was him. I think it was whoever was controlling the auto pen. But our country is doing great. And those leaders and other leaders, I just left, as you know, a large group of the most highly respected people. And that includes big countries. When you look at Germany and France and Spain, although Spain didn't come through, but they will. By the way, guaranteed they will. That was the only country that sort of tried to hold back on putting up the money. But just so you know, they said, it's unbelievable what's happened to the USA. You were a dead country. We didn't respect the country, the leader. You were dead as a doornail. One said to me, you went from being a dead country. You are right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. The whole world is talking about the USA, and everybody wants a part of it, and they're pouring into our country, and you're going to see those numbers. Thank you for that question.
Now you heard what was said. Y'all heard what was said. Anyway, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question about trade. Secretary Bessent has said that he hopes tariff deals with major partners will be done by Labor Day. So if some deals are not done by your July 9th deadline, will some countries' tariffs go back up, or will they stay where they are now?
Well, there's some countries that are used to ripping us off, to be honest with you. And I don't want to name them, but you sort of can name them. And they're so used to just, taking billions and billions of, look, we had a trade deficit of more than $1 trillion. Think of a trade deficit. That's because nobody cared. We cared a lot when, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariff. We had the greatest economy in history up until now. I think we're going to blow it away. But during my time, and especially prior to COVID, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think we're going to blow it away now based on the kind of numbers that we're seeing. But some countries are very angry because they've been ripping us.
Yeah, you do got some trolls. They talking about the money's down and stuff, but I just got finished showing the stock market breaking record highs, which is a great deal of investment in American companies. The money's not down like people say. Those are people that are trying to cast doom and gloom on. Listen, y'all, you are in charge of what happens in your household and what you believe and what you want to receive. So if you want to believe and receive that your money's down and everything is bad, then that's what you're going to receive. You reap what you sow. If you're going to sow that out saying that everything is bad, it's down, well, that's your experience. I'm not having that experience. Everything is up for me. Everything is up for a lot of people that's around me, even when I didn't even vote for Trump. Listen, y'all, this is coming from somebody who did not vote for Trump. Y'all don't understand. I did not vote for Donald Trump. Come on now. I didn't vote for Trump, but yet my money's up. Yet my peace is up. My joy, my happiness. It has nothing to do with just Trump in itself, but it's about this change that's taking place. A lot of things needed to change, and we were stuck in a lot of stagnant energy. There was a lot of things that were stagnant. Watch this. Let me show this. Right? Watch this. Let me get this up real quick. Let me show y'all. Let me see if I can get this up real quick. Oh my goodness. Let me show y'all what the dollar actually is right now. Let me show y'all what it is. Okay, let me get this on the screen. Hold on real quick. Okay, listen, y'all. The American dollar right now. The value of the American dollar is 97.442 US dollars. It has fallen by 0.13% in the past 24 hours. Okay, 0.13%, not even half a percentage point. So in terms of the dollar, quote unquote, being down, it's not down like you think. That's within trading. Okay, that is normal. Listen, man, I don't have time to break economics down. That is within a decent, respectable trading amount. Okay, it's not, people are making it seem like it's down. And also, when you look at the dollar index, if you look at it right now, you can see that it actually ended up going up. Okay, if y'all look at this, the previous stock market close was 97.15. It closed at 97.28. It went up 0.13 today. This was last updated June the 27th, which is today at 4:25 p.m. So the American dollar has actually crept back up. Here's the 52-week average, okay? Look at the 52-week average. It ranged anywhere from $97 to $110, okay? This is within trading range. That's what I was trying to tell you. It's within trading range. Okay? This is, I'm not trying to really get into stocks and the value and how stuff works. People trying to make it seem like the dollar's just down to nothing because they're dooming and glooming and fear mongering a lot of people on that. Okay? And then, like I showed you, the stocks closed up today and set a record. And they're going to continue to set a record right now. I already showed people this, but I have to show it to them again. Right? You can see on the screen that the stocks had hit a record high close of $43,818.50 on June the 27th, which is today. And this also coincided with the S&P 500 also hitting a record high. Right? The Dow Jones rose 1%. So what I'm trying to say is that people are saying that the money's down and everything is down, and just because one value of one particular currency might be up today, it will go down again. Listen, there's a lot going on with the deals. There's a lot going on with the tariffs. Welcome to economics. Welcome to the stock market. Welcome to how things go. As things keep shifting and these plans keep moving forward, things are going up. Come on now. Right? Right? You're going to have a lot of people that's going to come into the chat dooming and glooming and fear mongering you. They're going to tell you, sell your land, sell your property, sell your cars, get rid of this, get rid of that. Okay, if that's the case, then why don't you take your money and take all your resources, leave America, since America's so bad and America's dooming and glooming, and go to whatever respective country that you believe is balling out of control. I mean, that's just the best bet. If America's losing money and the value and all this is so bad and it's going to be so down in the future, so bleak, then go to whatever respective country that you believe is so much better. Right? Because I don't even want to get into global economics. Like I said, I'm a business and marketing major. I had to study this stuff. I've worked for all these Fortune 500 companies, been there, done that. Right? You have people that just want to be here to doom and gloom. Doesn't matter what you're going to do. And ultimately, I don't put my faith and trust in no money. My faith and trust is in the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, just like many people here. Our faith and trust is in God. God provides. Birds don't sow, nor do they reap. And yet, he provides for the birds. Are ye not greater than the birds? That's what the scripture says. So maybe you put your faith and trust in the dollar. Maybe you put your faith and trust in different currencies. I don't. And a lot of people here don't. A lot of people put their faith and trust in God. So God will provide for them. He provides for the righteous. He provides for us. Now, if you're not righteous, that's a different conversation. And you got to move accordingly. But for the righteous, we will be provided for. Let me show y'all a couple of scriptures. Y'all think I'm playing, right? Let me show y'all something. Y'all talking about money and wondering, oh, well, what's going to happen with money and where's money going to go? Let me show y'all something. Let me pull this scripture up here. Hold on. Y'all going to learn something today. Look at what the scripture says here. This is one of many verses. Proverbs 13, verse 22. It says, a good person leaves an inheritance for their children's children, but a sinner's wealth, it talks about a sinner's wealth is stored up for the righteous. Right? All the righteous is going to end up getting the money. It's all coming to us. I'm gonna show y'all some other scriptures. Okay, let me show y'all this. Watch this. Let me get this on the screen real quick for y'all. What does Matthew 5:5 says? Matthew 5:5 says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Right? So we are going to inherit the earth, those of us that are righteous. If you're not righteous, you're not going to inherit it. Let's get back to the video, man. Because we pretty much there. Let's get back to the video. Let's go.
Us off for years. They've been making billions and billions of dollars. There was nobody to negotiate with. They could do whatever they want. They charged us tariffs, by the way, at numbers that we've never seen before. And we ended up losing much more than $1 trillion a year. $1 trillion a year on trade. And now they're being met with a force that's far greater than them. And they don't like it. So they're upset. Because instead of making, $5 billion, they're going to break even. Or they'll make a little bit. I want to be nice. They'll make a little bit. Or we'll make a little bit. It's a big difference. Yeah, please go. Go ahead. Red dress.
On the 2020 election, is there any more information on the special prosecutor? So many Americans still have questions about the 2020 election. And speaking of rogue judges, would you consider appointing somebody at DOJ maybe to investigate the judges that allowed for the political persecution of you, your family, and your supporters during the Biden administration?
I love you. Who are you?
I'm Kara from Lindell TV.
Well, that's just a very nice question. And it's not a setup. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate that question. All I can say is we're not here for that. I hope so. I hope they're doing a thing because that election was rigged and stolen, and we can't allow that to happen. A lot of people tell me, sir, you just won the greatest election in the history of our country. You won at numbers that won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, won everything. Sir, go on with your life. And many people that say that, good people, friends of mine, then you have people that say that same thing, go on with your life, but you have to find out what happened because you can't let that happen again. Look at what this lunatic did. Look at what he did. He opened our borders to people that were murderers, 11,888 to be exact, murderers. And we've captured many of those murderers, and we're bringing them back, or some of them are so dangerous that we don't even want to bring them back. We're afraid they're going to try and come back in. But he allowed people to come into this country, people from mental institutions, insane asylums, that's a mental institution on steroids, people from mental institutions, gang members, drug dealers, people, jails, being emptied out into our country. Venezuela emptied out almost its entire prison population into our country. But I don't want to blame them. Many countries have done that. The Congo, we have a great press conference coming up later, and it's the Congo and Rwanda. They were fighting for years, and it was machetes, it was vicious, it was as vicious, people's heads being chopped off. And I have a man who's very good in that part of the world, very smart, and put them together. And we're signing a peace treaty today. First time in many years they're going to have peace. And it's a big deal. We talk about Russia, and we're working that one. President Putin called up and he said, I'd love to help you with Iran. I said, do me a favor. I'll handle Iran. Help me with Russia. We got to get that one settled. and I think something's going to happen there. But we did some great work. India and Pakistan. That was going to be maybe nuclear. We did that. We did a lot of work. I don't know if there's ever been a president that's done much more. Serbia, Kosovo was going to go at it. Going to be a big war. I said, you go at it. There's no trade with the United States. They said, well, maybe we won't go at it. That's what happened with India and Pakistan. I was negotiating with both of them, and
I see something about people is talking about the National Guard is only for emergencies. Look, was it RRM or RR Mestra says National Guard is for real emergencies. Listen, y'all need to see what the National Guard is really for. Okay, let's look at this real quick. The National Guard is not solely for emergencies. While they are frequently called upon to respond to natural disasters and other crises, they also have other roles. They can be deployed for federal missions, both domestically and overseas. And they also engage in ongoing community support and assistance. This means that they're not just called when we have a national disaster or we got some other issue. They engage in ongoing community support and assistance. Okay? It's a lot of misinformation that people may not fully know and understand. Okay? I just had to correct that. Let's go.
I said to Scott, I said to Howard, cancel all deals with India and Pakistan. They're not trading with us because they're in a war. They called back, what do we do? I said, look, you want to have trade with the United States, it's great. But you want to go and start using nuclear weapons on each other? We're not going to allow that. And they both agreed. Both have great leaders. They both agreed not to do it. So we did a lot, but I appreciate that question.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Orange.
President. Thank you, Mr. President. I was just speaking with Senator Ron Johnson on the One Big Beautiful Bill, and he says he really wants to get to yes for you and get this accomplished.
He does. He's a good man.
But he also said that he needs more time, and he is not certain that the July 4th deadline is possible.
Well, then he's not such a good man.
Because there's too much work to do.
He's a good man. Ron Johnson's doing a good job. He's very committed. Every Republican senator is committed. And, you know.
Yeah, I'm going to have to reiterate something what Floridian Rollo says. Listen, please be respectful on my platform. You can agree to disagree, but if you try to come here and insult my intelligence, I can literally kick you off my platform or have one of my moderators do it easy. For all the people that believe that what I'm saying is just a bunch of ignorance and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I strongly suggest you to start your own YouTube channel, so we can see what people got to say about what you have to say. If what you have to say is so wise and so much more wisdom against what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is so wrong, then I encourage you to start your YouTube channel. You put your content out here and let's see how the people react and what they have to say. I mean, you know, because y'all want to act like y'all content creators, like y'all big boys and big girls, like y'all actually out here, right? So if y'all so sure about what you're saying, create a YouTube channel and go ahead and start talking about it. I mean, I'm just saying, this is how content creators are born. I'm actually encouraging people to do it. But one thing nobody's going to do on my platform, you're not going to come into my house on my platform and threaten me. Let me just make that clear. Remember whose platform you're watching. I'm not on your platform. Y'all are watching me. So you need to think twice about the words that you say to me and my platform. And all I said is be respectful, because I have not said one thing to be disrespectful to anybody. And I see people calling me names and all that stuff. That's liable to just to get you kicked out. Because don't nobody want, you ain't going to have nobody come to your house and talk disrespectful to you. You won't tolerate it. Right? Nobody made any threats to you. You can go pull up the chat, and if I pull it up on the screen, I'm going to make a lot of y'all people look real silly. So I strongly suggest for y'all not to go there, because I'm one of the best at it. if you want to jump into this type of debate ring in terms of what you said and what I said, you're going to lose that battle. I'm a veteran when it comes to that. I'm just trying to give y'all some knowledge. And again, if y'all believe that you're so smart about what you're saying, then go ahead and start a YouTube channel and let's see how people react to what you have to say and your perspectives. Come on now. That's how you jump in the ring. You start a YouTube channel, you create videos, and you put your opinions and your voices out there. Let's see how far it goes and how people react. Right? Yeah, I'm with Goddess Star. Appreciate that. Goddess Star says if you don't agree with him, that's okay. Just don't be disrespectful. Exactly. Anybody can disagree with me, right? I do not expect everybody watching me to agree with me. That's not going to happen. That's impossible. You're always going to have people that disagree with you. And you know what, Goddess Star? Let me see if I could do something real quick. But just be respectful about it. You don't have to insult me and call me and call me names, right? I'm just saying this for anybody else to come up here. Because if I want to, I'm just going to start blocking all of y'all. Right? So I'm trying to give y'all a chance to rock out on my channel, but don't test my patience. Don't test my audience patience too, because my audience will do it. All right? So just remember that when you on my platform or anybody else's platform, you can agree to disagree, but please just be respectful. All right? So appreciate that. Let's go ahead and continue to play this message here with Trump.
You could have a couple of grandstanders, in all fairness. You could have somebody else, and it's very dangerous because our country would go from being the most successful country in the world to who knows what happens with a 68%, think of it, 68% tax increase. That was given by the Democrats because they like high taxes. I don't know what happened. You know, all my life, I'd grow up and I'd watch politicians talking. I'd say, oh, that's fun. And they were always saying, we will cut your taxes. We will cut your tax. I never heard it. They say, we will raise your taxes. And they elect people like this guy in New York that maybe has a chance. I find it hard to believe, but he maybe has a chance. They want to raise your taxes. So they want to see a 68% tax increase. That's more money than anybody could afford. You'd go into a depression if that ever happened. So I think there's a lot of pressure to get that approved.
President Trump, how important is the July 4th deadline to you?
It's important. It's not the end all. It can go longer, but we'd like to get it done by that time, if possible. And look, we have a lot of very committed people, and they feel very strongly about a subjects that you're not even thinking about that are important to Republicans. The problem we have is that it's a great bill. It's a popular bill, but we'll get no Democrats only because they don't want to vote for Trump. If that bill was their bill, oh, they would be so happy. It's so great for our military. It's great for everything. And they would normally vote, but because their hatred of Trump, they have Trump derangement syndrome at levels never seen before. And instead of voting for a tax cut, they're voting for a tax increase of 68%. They're voting to destroy Social Security, destroy Medicare, and destroy Medicaid. And we're voting to make them perfect and to make them better, make them stronger and better. They're going to destroy Medicaid, and they're going to destroy Medicare, and Social Security will follow. If you vote for the Democrats, you're dead on those three things.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a related subject, many Democrats have said that they are not going to support crypto bills in Congress only because of you and your family's personal crypto ventures. And these votes are in some cases needed to pass. Are you open to the idea of pulling away from your personal crypto ventures just for the next few years if that helps get these crypto bills passed in the next few months?
Well, it's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent. And I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces. And I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar. And it's a great.
And see, that's what I want to talk about, because a lot of people were saying that our dollar, a lot of people were saying, oh, well, the American dollar's dropping, but they forgot we got Bitcoin. We have other sources of quote unquote revenue and value that's not just all on the American dollar. A lot of people are old school. It's like, it's just the American dollar, that's the only currency we have. No, we have Bitcoin as well. And there's a lot of money in it. I'm telling you, a lot of people got to get up to speed. This is why we can't be on this doom and gloom tip. There are so many ways for people to make money, so many ways that people are making money in this particular climate, even under this administration, whether you agree with this administration or not. Like I said, we just need to get out here and get it. We just need to focus on getting what we can get. The environment is right for you to get it. You know what I'm saying? For you to be what you need to be, do what you need to do. And most importantly, we all about following these scriptures so we can stay right, stay righteous. And then the Most High will add all these things. The Bible says, seek ye first and his kingdom of righteousness, and then all these things will be added onto you. See, a lot of people going after the money, they going after the Bitcoin, they trying to go after this, and they not seeking God. They want to stay wicked, they want to stay rebellious, and then they expect those things to come. But the Bible says, seek ye first and his kingdom of righteousness, and then all those things will be added onto you. So all those things you need, that's how we get more financial revenues. That's how we get more sources. It's how you get increase, because you seeking the Most High. I'm telling y'all, it's here for everybody to do.
Great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. You know, I have I have kids and they invest in different things. They do believe in it. But I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And you know, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
Sir, Mr. President.
Go ahead. With the glasses, gentlemen. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, are you going to cut funds in the sanctuary states, like, for instance, California? They keep supporting illegal immigration, and then these people work under
Yeah, we're
the
giving
table.
them a hard time.
And also, a foreign policy question.
I mean, they don't have a governor in California. They have a man that wants to give away everything to people that nobody's seen before. If we didn't go into Los Angeles with the military, which did a fantastic job, but if we didn't go into Los Angeles bringing in the National Guard, I would have brought the military if it was necessary, because you have to. We have the right to. That was another thing upheld by the Supreme Court. But if we didn't go in with the National Guard and be strong and tough, you wouldn't maybe have Los Angeles. It would be like the rest of California, the rest of Los Angeles. They lost 25,000 houses in a fire. They should have lost none. You know, I sent the water down. I had to break into their water supply because they just refused to do it. They're crazy.
See, now is anybody talking about that? Anybody talking about that? How Los Angeles refused to break into their water supply? Why the homes burned? Come on now, let's talk now. Let's talk, man. Listen, y'all, it's what I seen from what was going on in LA. Man, them folks was riding. You had black folks out there riding. It wasn't just the Hispanic, Latino, Mexican community. It wasn't just migrants. You had all types of folks breaking into stores, looting, being buck wild. And it wasn't until the National Guard came in, everybody chilled out. They like, oh, snap, the military, and oh, snap, let's fall back. Yeah, oh, snap is right. And then they was also wilding all over. And if the police had such control over it with their so-called 9,000 plus officers in LA, then how come they didn't have control on it? Because if they had control on it, they wouldn't have brought the National Guard in, right? Come on now. All the damage, all the fires, all the looting, all the destruction that was going on. See, they don't want to put that out there, because then people will be like, oh, well, you know, then I guess we need the military to come in. See, they don't show that to y'all. They only show a little bit and make it seem like it's one particular way. Zandria says I need to do a live on that. I might actually do that. I might actually talk about that, why the military needs to be brought in. Because if you let people believe that they could go buck wild with stuff, then they're going to go buck wild everywhere. And that's what was happening. Listen, y'all, they was sitting up there doing all types of stuff to the police, vandalizing all the squad cars, just throwing stuff, fireworks, like they was doing everything. It was no respect for the police. So when you see that there's no respect for the police, but yet you got a state that's saying, well, we got it handled. No, y'all don't, because they disrespecting the police. And then it took the military to come in. Now all of a sudden everybody quiet. All of a sudden stuff is kind of calmed down. That's a whole nother conversation. I have to do a stream just like Zandra said on that. Anyway, let's continue. We almost there.
There's something wrong with them. They have plenty of water. They don't have droughts or anything. They have plenty. We let it come down from the Pacific Northwest. They routed all the water out into the Pacific Ocean for environmental reasons, okay? And now you have 25,000 houses, none of which would have burned down if you had the water. They didn't have water. They didn't have water for the fire pumps. They didn't have water in the sprinkler systems that people put in. So the answer is we're going to work with governors. We're going to work with radical left Democrats and Democrats, and we're going to make it good for everybody. We'll have to stop the crime in those. In the case of the cities, I think I can say just about all cities with heavy crime are run by Democrats.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
11 lies.
Yeah, with the glasses.
I'm with Iran.
Go ahead, yes. Yeah, no, the man behind you, yeah, please.
President Trump, Anthony Mashak from Amphibia, Lebanon. I want to ask you regarding the threats posed by Iran's allies and proxies operating in the U.S. They were threatening your life. So what do you say about that? And regarding the Lebanon, because Hezbollah is as well part of Iran's allies, is there any time frame in Lebanon regarding disarming Hezbollah in Lebanon?
Yeah, Lebanon is a great place with brilliant people. You know, it was known for the professors and doctors and had an incredible history. And hopefully we can bring it back again. I just appointed a friend of mine who's Lebanese, and I didn't know he was Lebanese. I've known him for 20 years, very, very successful man. And I just appointed him. And I said, why would you want that? He said, because I was born there, I was raised there, I love it. I love it so much. I said, you know, it's very dangerous going to Lebanon as ambassador. And he said, that's what they say, but I don't care about danger. I mean, this is a guy that is just a very big business guy. He wants to give up his whole life to go to Lebanon because he believes in it so much. We're with Lebanon all the way. We'll try and straighten it out.
Your life as well. So what action?
Threaten my life? Yeah, they have threatened. I get that throbbing feeling every once in a while. Get that throbbing feeling, but you know what? That's okay. This is a dangerous business. What I do is a dangerous business. You know, I tell the story of the car companies and different people in different professions you have. Race car drivers, as an example. 1/10 of 1% die. Bull riders, 1/10 of 1%. That's not a lot, but it's people die. When you're president, it's about 5%. If somebody would have told me that, maybe I wouldn't have run. Okay? This is a very dangerous profession. Yeah, by the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead.
On Iran.
You tell me when it gets boring. Okay.
If Iran.
Are you from Iran?
No, I'm not from Iran. I'm from the UK. But if the intelligence reports conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question, absolutely.
And have you had any conversations?
Turned out to be unbelievable. But, you know, our incredible flyers and I call them the shots. These guys are unbelievable. Think from 52,000 feet, they hit the equivalent of a refrigerator door. They actually hit it right in the center, so it's much smaller than that. And just bomb after bomb going deeper, deeper, blowing up. Incredible, incredible thing. I don't know if you heard the general. He was very impressive. Raisin Cane. You know, he's the one that beat ISIS for me. And he did it in a matter of weeks. And I was told it was going to take 4 or 5 years. And when I got this job, I always said, if I get this job, I'm going to put that guy as the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And Dan Kane, and he When I heard his name was Raisin, his nickname is Raisin Kane. I said, you got to be kidding. So I liked him right from the beginning, but he knocked out ISIS in a time that nobody ever thought possible. And when this attack was completed and so successful, I said, now I know how you knocked out ISIS so quickly. But we have the best people, we have the best equipment in the world. You know, I rebuilt the military during my 4 years, during my other term. We have the best equipment in the world. The problem is we gave away, you know, a lot of it, but small, relatively speaking. We gave a lot of it away to Afghanistan. Shouldn't have happened. That just shows how incompetent they were. They gave all that equipment away, billions and billions of dollars worth. Shouldn't have happened, but that was small compared to what we have. Now we have a great military with great people. Okay. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, congratulations. A couple of very different questions. One is Rwanda, 1994. As you grew up in New York, we all knew how horrific those attacks were. Congratulations on that treaty. There are talks that perhaps...
That's going to take place today at 3 o'clock in the Oval Office. We're going to have a signing with Rwanda and the Congo. So I'm a little out of my league in that one because I didn't know too much about it. I knew one thing. They were going at it for many years and with machetes. It is one of the worst wars that anyone's ever seen. And I just happened to have somebody that was able to get it settled. I mean, just a brilliant person who is very comfortable in that part of the world. It's a very dangerous part of the world. I said, are you uncomfortable there? People are being killed. School children are being raided and killed. And I don't even want to say how, but as viciously as I've ever heard. Are you uncomfortable? No, that's the part of the world that I know. Very comfortable. Was able to get them together and sell it. And not only that, we're getting for the United States a lot of the mineral rights from the Congo as part of it. They're so honored to be here. They never thought they'd be coming to. Look, this is a very tough part of the world. They never thought, they were just telling me, they never thought they'd ever be coming to the White House, and they're so honored. And so we're going to give them a great big reception. But that's after many years of fighting. It's a great thing. That's at 3 o'clock, I believe.
Sir, are you concerned at all about secret nuclear sites in Iran? You talked about maybe just
secret nuclear sites?
Yes, that there might be some that's
not really. Can I tell you? They're exhausted. And Israel's exhausted too. And I dealt with both of them. And they both wanted it settled, both of them. And we did a great job, but they're exhausted. The last thing they're thinking about right now is nuclear. You know what they're thinking of? They're thinking about tomorrow, trying to live. It's such a mess. It's such a mess. The place was bombed to hell. And no, I'm not worried about it at all. And I'm putting out a little statement. I'm going to respond to the Ayatollah's statement yesterday that we won the war. Oh, God, we won the war. And I said, look, you're a man of great faith, a man who's highly respected in this country. You have to tell the truth. You got beat to hell. And Israel was beat up too. They were both beat up.
So this means that I'm going to end up doing a live stream on this when President Trump issues his statement. Because, you know, we heard the statement that came out of the Iran camp, okay, from the Iran president. And he was like, yeah, we got the victory. We slapped America in the face. I got that live on my stream. So when Trump actually does his speech and his response, because I told y'all he's going to be doing a response. Those are some tough words he was saying. He was talking smack. America's going to feel this pain and all of this. And they're in a run. Like all of these words. I was like, there has to be some type of response here from the United States. And you're hearing it right here. President Trump says he's going to respond. So I'm going to be breaking that news when he responds. He said he'll do it tomorrow. So stay tuned for it to come out tomorrow.
And it was a great time to end it. It was quick. They got the hate out. There was a lot of hate. It would be great if they didn't have that hate. But the last thing they're thinking about is nuclear weapons right now. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Iris Tao with NTD Research Media with the Epoch Times. Thank you so much for doing this. It's very refreshing for all of us here.
It's a good group.
In this room.
It's refreshing.
Very refreshing. Yes, we haven't had this in
I understand what you mean.
So thank you so much for coming out here.
Other than Caroline's done a great job.
Yes.
You're referring to the past administration, not to Caroline, right?
Yes. Back to the ruling today, if you don't mind. So you have always talked about winning for the American people.
Right.
How do you think today's ruling will enable you to further deliver for American families and workers across the country, not only when it comes to immigration, but also when it comes to trade, energy? What actions are most eager to move forward
Well, I think
now?
taking power away from these absolutely crazy radical left judges is a tremendous. This is such a big day. This is such a big day. It's like it's sort of sad because we're doing the signing at 3 o'clock, and this may very well dominate the signing of a big war that was going on and really affecting the continent of. Think of it, the entire continent of Africa was being affected. We're settling that war today, and this will probably be a headline. But this is a very big moment, and it gives power back to people that should have it, including Congress, including the presidency. And it only takes bad power away from judges. It really doesn't take power. It takes bad power, sick power, and unfair power. And it's really going to be, this is a very monumental decision. Yeah, please.
Yeah, President, thank you very much. On July 9th, is that July 9th date set for tariffs to snap back? Or could there be a...
We can do whatever we want. We could extend it. We could make it shorter. I'd like to make it shorter. I'd like to just send letters out to everybody. Congratulations, you're paying 25%. He doesn't want. He's a much nicer person than I am. Go ahead. Did you finish it up?
Who are you considering for the Federal Reserve then? And are you speeding up that process? I see Secretary.
Oh, he's terrible. He's terrible. I mean, I have a list of things. We're like 38 on the list. We pay, Cameroon and different places are paying the same as us. Because, you have somebody sets a rate at 4% or 4.5%. It's hard to go out and say we should be paying 1% when you have your so-called experts doing it. And the sad part is, as per the question that you asked about tariffs, we've had the tariffs and we have less inflation than we had before. What we have is a hell of a lot more money, a hell of a lot more income, and we shouldn't be paying a rate like that. In other words, when we pay a rate, I'll tell you, each point is the equivalent of $300 billion. So if we had it down 3 points, because I think we should be at 1, you have Switzerland is at 0.25. In other words, 25% of 1%. And they're the number 1 right now. But we should be the number 1. And soon you're going to have, I think, you're going to have where the people will pay will pay, like we had a few years ago, where you put up money, you loan money, and I mean, you actually, instead of paying, you get paid. I love that. I don't know if it's any good, but I love it, where you put up money and you get paid. But we should be in a category, so we should be at the top of the list, not toward the bottom of the list. But we have a man who's not a smart man, and he probably has Trump derangement syndrome. And he's just not a smart person. What he's doing, though, he's hurting us for years to come. Because if we borrow money at 2 points higher than we should be paying, that's $600 billion. Wouldn't you say those numbers are about right, Scott? So it's 2 points would be about 600, actually more than that, but about $600 billion, all because the guy doesn't want to lower the rates. He's doing the service, and then he goes up and talks about, I'd like to see costs come down. He gets up and he does his little thing for 5 minutes, and he goes out and he goes back to the beach. He goes, I'd like to see costs come down. Well, he could lower the interest cost by $900 billion a year. All he has to do is lower rates. And everybody's saying, I was watching some of the business shows today, and they're saying, Trump's right. He should really be cutting. The country's doing well. We have no inflation. Now, despite him, we're doing great. But if we got the rates down, we would be a rocket ship. So I think that'll be it. And I just want to thank everybody. This is a really big day. We've had a big week. We've had a big week. We've had a lot of victories this week. NATO was a tremendous victory. The war was a tremendous. Look, we were talking about this for 30 years, about Iran being nuclear. And all I said is it will not be nuclear, and it's not going to be nuclear. And, I want to give credit to a lot of people, and most importantly to our great military. Boy, they put out that fire. Once that happened, once those bombs got dropped, that war was over. That war was over. But I just want to compliment them. Incredible. The general and all of his generals. Pete Hegseth was great. They all. And now I want to compliment Pam. A lot of genius went into this. People if you don't say it exactly right, if the Supreme Court doesn't get it because it's incorrectly spoken about, and that happens. A lot of cases are lost because they don't say the right words. But I want to correct. She's going to go down as a great attorney general. I may change my mind about that. I don't know. Maybe someday I'll have call and say I was only kidding. She's going to go down as a great attorney general. This was a tremendous win, and we've had tremendous wins, but this was a tremendous win today. So I just want to congratulate you and Todd and your whole staff. Very brilliant people, and we can't forget John Sauer.
That's right.
Who is with. There's a medical emergency within his family, so he's taking care of that, and we said absolutely. So I just want to thank everybody very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Essentially, there we have it. There we have it. So, hey, that's pretty much everything that Trump has said as of late. I guess he signed some treaty or something at 3:00. It's like just about 6:00 now, Eastern Standard Time. So that should be signed. That should be done. But I'm definitely going to stay tuned because he said he's going to issue a response as to what everything with the Iranian president said. So we're going to go into Khamenei. Everything that he said. We're gonna, see what Trump has to say, because I was like, it was some tough words in that live stream. He was talking tough and gangster. I'm talking about Khamenei. So we'll see what's gonna be said and what's gonna happen. But I mean, hey, here we go. We got it. We broke it down. It's been an amazing stream, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Listen, remember, don't live in fear. Make the best of your time. Go out there and do things, start things, continue to move forward. Right? You're informed. We're informed, but we're going to move and enjoy life. That's why we're here. We're not going to live in fear. We're not going to get all bent out of shape and upset. We're going to do what we need to do to enjoy our life. Right? That's what the Bible says. And this is a Bible-inspired, Bible-believing based channel. Right? I expose things and I talk about things based upon the Bible. So, man, I appreciate all your comments, even those of you that disagree with me. Again, continue, hey, you can continue to rock out. That's why nobody should have gotten blocked. I don't think anybody got blocked. Maybe people might have got timed out here and there, unless somebody was just straight up trolling hard or whatever. I could have missed it. It's been great here. I welcome you all to come back. I want those of you that have a voice, listen to me when I say this. Some of you in the chat, y'all have voices. Some of you in the chat have voices that need to be heard. Please be inspired. Please be encouraged. Start your channels. Listen, if you need help, I'll help you. I don't care if we disagree. Listen, man, everybody over here is winning. We're team winning. We're team rocking with the Most High. Ain't nobody got time for no doom and gloom, no crying. The sky is falling. The end of the world. We're going to starve. Y'all start your channels. You start your jobs. You start these relationships. You start having fun. Y'all start doing stuff, man. And if you already doing that, continue to do it. Go to the next level with it. We leveling up and we winning over here. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the club. That's how we get down around here. Everybody over here that stay over here and rock, all of y'all are winners. Y'all gonna see. All of y'all are winners. I'm just here to keep y'all encouraged to remember that, to focus on that. All of y'all are winners, and all of y'all are a blessing to people around y'all. That's what we do around here, man. That's what makes us America. It's supposed to be founded on these biblical principles. And we supposed to be winning, right? Ain't that how we get down here in America? So, hey, man, I appreciate all of y'all. Shout out to RM Mestre. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Shout out to everybody, man. Congratulations, Goddess Star. You got a wrench. You know what I'm saying? When I see certain people step up like that, hey, y'all just, hey, when I move, when the Holy Spirit move me, hey, I move accordingly. So I've had a blast with y'all. Thanks for the challenging conversations. Thanks for the challenging arguments, the perspectives, all of that, man. And we're going to have a lot more coming. So again, if you haven't double tapped the screen, please do so. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. I am nothing without you all. My channel is nothing. I ain't one of these cocky ass content creators who act like, oh, okay, I just no. My channel is nothing without y'all. So I take time to show homage, to show respect, humbly speaking, and tell y'all that I appreciate y'all. Right? even the ones who disagree with me. That's why, look, that's what I say. Don't block nobody unless they just go into some hardcore name calling and all that stuff. That stupid trolling stuff that's just distracting to everybody. So, hey, man, salute to everybody out here. Salute to all the people that's working on the 9 to 5 or that did work on the 9 to 5. Salute to y'all that you're getting your education. Salute to y'all that's off on the summer. You're enjoying your break. Salute to my parents out there. Salute to the military. All the branches, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Salute to the National Guard, the Coast Guard. Salute to all of my law enforcement peeps. Those of you that work in public safety, man, just salute to all of the other content creators. Salute to y'all that's following the Most High. Most importantly, y'all following the Bible. And y'all are being encouraged. Or y'all want to follow the Bible. You see what I'm saying? You just want to take the principles and do whatever it is that you can, man. Salute to y'all. I hope y'all have an amazing day, amazing night, amazing morning, depending on if you're watching this on a replay or wherever you are around the world. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. Stay tuned for more live streams. They will come. Again, thank y'all. I can't thank y'all enough. This has been a blast. This has been a blast, man. And I look forward to the next one. So until then, enjoy your life. Do the things. Let's elevate. Let's come up. I want to hear about your testimonies. Y'all make sure when y'all come back on my platform, y'all drop y'all testimonies. They're going like, Brainwaves was right. I came up. I passed this test. I got this. I'm in a relationship. I came up. I got some money. Like, drop your testimonies in the live chat. Let's show them what time it is. The meek shall inherit the earth. So, hey, what's up, Elizabeth Williams? With that being said, appreciate y'all. Blessings. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the rest of the evening with my family. I got a lot of fun going. Appreciate that, Rollo. Says congrats to my channel. Growing it. My channel is where it's supposed to be. That's what's happening. It's growing the way it's supposed to. So, and I couldn't have done this without the support of you wonderful people that came through. So, hey, with that being said, I'll catch y'all in the next one. I got a lot more coming. There's another subject I want to talk about. I might do it late tonight. Might be one of those another late nighters. So stay tuned. I might drop a midnighter on y'all. Y'all never know. That's what I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll drop a late night stream. But with that being said, hey, I appreciate y'all. If not, it'll be tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff to talk to y'all about. We'll get into that when it shows up. All right. So until then, enjoy your day, your night, your morning, wherever you are around the world. Again, appreciate y'all. Blessings and peace. I will catch y'all on the next one.